Is that being? Oh, I see it now. Wow.
It's like it's a beaver. It's not an alligator or a crocodile.
They're so tiny. They swim fast.
Very fast.
Oh no, they're far. Oh no.
Hello, welcome in. This is Rochelle, a Brampton gardener, and I was just showing a quick little video clip of the drainage ponds we have down at the end of our street, and we have a family of beaver that live in there. And so that is one of him. He was out swimming, and every year someone sees it and they report it and they think it's an alligator. So there's always this fake alligator news story that goes out in the in the local news. So that is an example of our beaver just out swimming in the pond, and I can show it again later. I discovered a few new features here where I can add an intro. I can do the countdown. So I am learning more and more about StreamYard. So everybody that is watching it live with me, thank you so much for coming into the chat. And anyone that is watching it on the replay, thank you even more. Thank you so much for coming in on the replay. I will be going over, I'll be showing some pictures from the yard and just talking a little bit about this week. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I did have my foot in an air boot earlier in the week. I unfortunately hurt my foot on Saturday night. I've been having trouble with my, hey, Ladies Farm, how are you? Welcome in. Kentucky is in the house. Hey there, listening while I'm eating. What are you eating? That's the important question. What are you eating? I hope it's good. I hope it's tacos. I feel like tacos. Dexter is doing just fine. He just had his dinner and my daughter just dropped him off from his walk. I could hear him barking just a few minutes ago as she brought him back in. So he is fine. He will be relaxing in the living room by himself tonight. My daughter's outside playing with her friends and I'm up here and my husband's out on the deck. So he'll be going in and out. I got to readjust my foot. So yes, I hurt my foot Saturday night. I've been having trouble with my plantar fascia for a while now. And I had to go down to the end of the street because that's like a whole story here. Okay, so I was out in the garden and I was deadheading my, sorry, I keep banging the desk. Eating chips with hot habanero salsa. Oh, that's close enough. That sounds absolutely delicious. I didn't really have dinner. I just had a little bit of leftover tabbouleh. So if you see any, I hope I got all the parsley out. Yeah, so there's a whole story here. Okay, so I was out in the garden and I was working and I was deadheading all of my calendula. So the top of every single calendula came off. If it had a flower on it, it went into the flower drying pile. I was going to say bin. There were no bins. There were just piles on the ground. And then any of the heads, the seed heads or the dried heads or anything like that, they just got popped off. And I've already saved enough seeds. So I wanted to clean it all up. And then I really needed to go out and deadhead my, what are they? The Shasta daisies, because apparently if you shear them back, you should get a second bloom. And I think I might be too late for that already, but I was going to do that after. And so I was up on the hill and I thought, oh, I'll do it later because I need to get snips for that, because you cannot just use your finger to deadhead the, what are they? The Shasta daisies. And so I was just finishing up and the phone rang. And so I went inside and, oh, spaghetti over there. All right. Spaghetti's good. Spaghetti's good. I don't eat a lot of spaghetti in the summertime. That's, for me, that's more of a fall, whatever, for some reason. My daughter would eat it every day if we could. And yeah, so then my dad called. So then I went in and I was talking to him on the phone. And then while I was talking to him on the phone, the neighbors came by and their son-in-law was visiting for the afternoon. And yeah, he's like shouting at me, David, I get it. I get it. You don't want to cook all the time. I got it. No worries. You're eating the same thing. That's so funny. Yeah, and so then his son-in-law and daughter were over with their two little kids, and they accidentally locked their keys in the trunk. And so he was asking if we had a tennis ball, because like there's this thing on YouTube where you can like put a hole in a tennis ball, put it up to the lock, and smash it. It's supposed to help open a door. I've heard of it. Don't know if it works or not. So I'm like, well, I don't know if I know I have some tennis balls somewhere, but to actually find them, right? So I went in the garage and I looked, and they're down the street with a hanger and all this stuff, and they can't get around like the window frame, right? Like they just can't get in there. It's a newer car. They're having trouble getting in. So then I'm like, oh, a neighbor at the other end of the street, my daughter's friend's dad is a mechanic. So maybe he has some tools. And my foot was already sore. So I've already been having trouble with my plantar fascia. So I decided to take her scooter. She's got this cool electric scooter. So I thought, I'll just pop on the scooter and zip down the street. So I got on it and I did a little push with my left leg. And it wasn't quite enough to power the thing. So I pushed again. I gave myself a good old push with my bad leg. And apparently when you push off on a scooter, you use your plantar fascia. And I did that and I felt this like snap. Yeah, it's not ending well. And I felt like a snap and shooting pain and agony. I thought I was going to fall off the scooter. It hurt so bad. So I stayed on the scooter and I made it down, and he was out fortunately working in the driveway. He said, yeah, he's got the tools. He'll come down. He came down. It was still a struggle. Like these new cars are hard to break into. Good Lord. I was like, man, I give these car thieves, some credit now. Like this is difficult. But so anyway, so we were just kind of standing around. So I was just sitting on the sidewalk and we're chatting, and I was standing up and around a bit, but I wasn't putting any weight on my foot. It hurt, but I was like, well, all right. Went in the house, laid on the couch, put an ice pack on it, took an aspirin. I thought, well, it'll be fine. Cause I've had it hurt before. When I got up to go to bed, I could not put any weight on it. I couldn't walk on it. Could not put any weight on it. I like hobbled up the stairs, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So of course I go on YouTube, and yes, I'm complaining it's hard to break into a car. And the problem is that they're two little kids, so it's not like they could borrow the dad's car or anything, because the car seats were in the car, right? Yeah. I was in a bad boot for a month plus injections from a doctor when I had that. Yeah. So yeah, I went on, YouTube doctor and Googled it, and I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. So they're saying, there's all different things that could happen. You could tear it this way. You could rupture. So a tear is if it's in the plantar fascia, apparently, from what I've read. If it's in like the linear part going up and down your foot, that's a tear. Mine is right at, like, say this is my foot. So this is the arch right here is where my pain is. So I believe that's considered a rupture. So it can be like a minor rupture. It just depends on how much actually tore or not. So yeah, basically it's crutches and a boot and all of that until you can put some weight on it and whatever. So yeah, props to all the car thieves. It's impressive. Ooh, I have a car thief story. I can tell right after this one. Hey, Raven Cat, welcome in. Actually, did I greet everybody? I was just in the middle of the story. So hello, David. Welcome in. Welcome in, Monica. And Raven Cat. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah. So fortunately, my husband is a preparer. And he went up into the attic and he got a pair of crutches that we have up there from when our neighbor needed them. And one of our neighbors had an air boot, air cast. So I had that. I don't like the air cast. I find it puts, like, I would have to wear like platform shoes on the other foot. I do not have any comfrey. I wish I did. I don't. I've been using Voltaren, and I've been using this like Chinese, it's these, it's kind of like a pad, like a giant sticker pad with something that smells like Tiger Balm or whatever. My daughter's friend, they're Vietnamese, and they gave me these. You can stick them on. So I stick them on at night, and it does seem to help. It probably, I don't know if it has comfrey in it or not. I cannot read the label. I'm not even sure if I'm using it properly. The directions are all in Vietnamese. So yeah, the first day I was like full on crutches, second day crutches. By the third day, I was able to, I put KT tape on. I'm a big fan of kinesiology tape. Here's an example of some of the small. So I have the small stuff here. So it's stretchy, and it sticks to anything. It sticks to your skin. So I have the wider one on my foot. So I watched some videos on that. So I taped it up nice. And then I was like, okay, I can put a bit of weight on it as long as I don't spread the arch. So that's the problem is your arch is where that plantar fascia is in, and it's healing. So it's laying down new stuff. And they say it actually does it pretty quickly. It heals very quickly. Problem is if you keep stretching that and opening it before it's done, then it will keep kind of tearing, right? And so binding it helps keep it on. And that's, you know, what the air boot does, helps keeping it from flexing. I discovered that I could also use, it's a knee band. Okay. I have like every possible kind of band or bandage because I have bad joints and I'm always hurting myself. So I found that my knee band is, it's soft and really thick and cushy and elastic, and I can wrap it right into my arch and pull it nice and tight. I just punched myself gesturing. Pull it nice and tight, and it supports the arch. It fills in the arch. Fortunately, I have flat feet, so I don't have a lot to fill in. And so then when I walk on it, there's no spread and there's no stretching of that part of my arch when I step. So it doesn't hurt, and I can walk very carefully on it. I do not have it. The squirrels went at it. Oh no. No, I don't have any comfort. I could probably look online and see. I was thinking of getting some arnica. I don't ever know how to say it. I always just see it, but yes. So I have a ton of compression stockings, and so I did the binding. I've been wearing the compression socks, and then with that strap on, I'm able to walk carefully. So I was finally able to get out into the garden today. It had been like 5 days. I hadn't really been able to check on anything. I had some rotting tomatoes because we had a bunch of rain this week too. So a couple of days I was thinking of going out there, but it was raining. And yeah, if you have the dry comfrey and then add coconut oil to your lids, and okay, I have calendula. Would that work? But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the compression stockings. I wear them. I'm supposed to wear them all the time because I do have problems with edema. So honestly, when I took a bath tonight and I took off all the tape and I unwrapped it, and that foot, I'm like, dang, that foot's skinny. So that foot's looking good because she's been wrapped up all day. I mean, all week long. The compression stockings, everything. I'm like, that's doing its job because it's wrapped up nice and tight. So I'm actually able to walk on it a bit. Very, very carefully, but I'm feeling that it's feeling kind of sore on the outside of my foot and my heel because that's where I'm stepping. Because in the house, I'm not wearing a shoe. So I'm thinking maybe I should be wearing a shoe with arch support, nice padding. And then that would be an easier step. So my husband's like, that's where you're supposed to wear the boot. But the boot is so much higher that unless I have the same height on the other side, I'm like, if I start walking on this, I'm going to throw off my hip, and my knee on the other side is going to start aching again. So I don't know if I want to do that. I think I'm doing okay. It feels okay. So yeah, I know comfrey is good. I wanted it. But I can't grow it here. Like I just do not have the room to grow something that's that, shall we say, invasive or a free grower, not a shower. Anyways, okay, so this is for Monica and the carjacking story. Okay, so years ago, I did the exact same thing. I locked my keys in the trunk of my car at a mall in Tampa, Florida. And I was with a friend of mine. And we're like, oh my God, how are we going to try and break into the car? So we went into the nearest store to get a hanger. Well, unfortunately, I'd parked outside of Nordstrom's, and Nordstrom's doesn't carry wire hangers. They all have wooden hangers in there. So they had to go and try to find one in the back. Fortunately, there was a really nice guy. He went and helped us out. So now we get this hanger and we're in a parking lot and we're trying to figure this out. And I'm struggling. And I look, and like a row over and walking are like 4 like gang members, total gang members. I mean, I went to a high school. We had Bloods and Crips. I know Bloods when I see them. Anyways, I was like, excuse me. And they looked over like shocked that, you know, I'm trying to make contact with them. And I'm like, they're like, yes. I'm like, just wondering if you could give me a hand here. I happen to lock myself out of my car. Keys are in the trunk. And they're like, do you have a hanger? I'm like, yes, I do. And they're like, no problem, ma'am. And boom, they got in my car that fast. I was very, very grateful. I said, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day. They were thrilled to be able to help me. So that's my good car breaking in story. Yeah, I have a few of those. I don't find well, I okay, the one I have like the elastic is like totally fried on it, but I have I'm using the knee one. I mean the knee one seems to be working really well on my foot. But I do appreciate that. Yeah, I have the wrist one. I was looking through my like first aid kit and I have like the wrist one, I have the ankle one, I have the knee one. I have yeah, I have a lot of joint issues, so yeah, so that is my good car breaking in story. So, moral of the night is they did finally get in the car. They got to go home that night. Everyone was happy, except for me because I injured myself in the process of all of that. So, unfortunately, I'm doing okay, but I was very upset on Sunday. I was sitting out. I hobbled downstairs with my crutches, and I was sitting out in the chair with my feet up, and I was looking at my garden. And I was like, because from what I was reading online, it's like it could be like a month on crutches and then a month in the air boot and then all this and that, depending on how bad it is. And if you get a fracture, like sometimes you can have a fracture and all this and that. So I was like, oh gosh, no, 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 no. I don't think I still have some. I think I'm out, but I do have turmeric. Maybe I'll just take some turmeric. Maybe I'll make a turmeric tea. That'd be good. I'm taking omega-3, I have magnesium, I'm taking calcium, I'm taking vitamin D, I'm taking, I should probably take, what else? I take a bunch of stuff every day, so. But, yeah, I will look into that if I have that. So, but yeah, I was looking at the garden and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to film my end of August garden tour and I can't walk very well, much less on the hill. So the pressure that stepping on that angle would have put on my arch, it was just like, there's no way that's going to happen. And I don't trust anyone else in the house to try and do a garden tour for me. I actually strapped Dexter's GoPro on. I thought, well, we'll just see what he gets. And he sat at the door for 5 minutes. I could not get him to move. I was like, go run. Threw the ball for him. Everything. Nope. He didn't want to move. He didn't want to move. The pills will work faster. Okay, well maybe if I'm out tomorrow, I'll have my husband grab me some turmeric. I need to get more of the what was it I was saying? Oh, hawthorn berry. I was taking hawthorn berry for a bit, and that did seem to help with the swelling. It's supposed to be good for lowering your blood pressure and everything, and it seemed to help with the swelling in my feet as well, and my ankles. So, yeah, maybe I'll go to the store tomorrow and send the kid in. I have to go to the library too and return some books. I do have some errands I need to run. Oh, and then we were going to go to Costco yesterday. I wanted to go. I was like, I want to use the scooter. But my husband said, no. He goes, by the time you go and you get the scooter and the key, he was just running in for something really quick. So I stayed in the car. I'm always sad if I miss a trip into Costco. Yeah. So I finally made it out. No more scooters. No. What? Your Costco doesn't have scooters? What? I've never gotten to ride one, so I was kind of looking forward to it. Yeah, so I finally got out this morning and my foot was okay enough to do a film. I went kind of sideways up the hill and it was very slow. It's not my normal getting into the garden and into the beds and touching everything like normal. It was very, here it is. And I kind of zoomed in a bit. So hopefully it transfers well into the filming, but that was it. And there's no panting. I don't know if you watched the video where we went on the hike. I also had hurt my foot, the same spot on that hike, stepping up onto a rock. And so the second half of the film, I had to add the music because I'm like, the whole thing because it hurt so bad. My foot was hurting and I had to walk back to the car and I was filming at the time. And so, yeah, when I was listening back to it, I was like, oh my God, it sounds like I am like so out of shape and so out of breath. So I do not use a scooter when shopping. I would have nowhere to put my walker. Oh yeah, that would be a problem. That would be a problem. No, I would have made my husband park right in front, right outside the door and go get me my scooter. I think that'd be great. Yeah, I've never used them. I know people that use them complain that nobody seems to see them when they're sitting in it. Like nobody sees them. They're just like hiding. and people bump into them and they don't get any respect in the scooter. So anyways, I'm going to start in on my pictures that I took today. So I did film it with the video camera, and then I went and got my good camera, which I don't use that often in the garden. And I should have probably changed the lens because I had my telephoto lens on it. So there's a lot of flower close-ups because I couldn't really back up far enough. So I'm going to share my screen when I find it. Where am I at? Here we go. And we're just going to go through a few of the pictures that I took in the garden. If you are on my Instagram, you would have seen them there. Why isn't it opening up? Hopefully. Yes, I've heard about that with the mullein, and I don't have any in my garden, but there's some that grows wild right behind us. And I have heard about that. So this is, I love the shot. The whole garden was in the shade except for this one little stream of sun that was coming out and hit my little zinnia. So these zinnia seeds, I planted from seed, and then I had some old seed and I had some new seed. And so I just didn't even bother labeling anything when I was starting my seedlings inside. And then I planted them out and I put extra seed in the ground. So I have no idea what any of them are. So they're all kind of coming up. Colors are all coming up together, but I just thought this was a cute little picture. I gotta try and, there we go. Click on it. And the ladies were looking nice and lovely this morning. Let's see if I can make that larger. Is that bigger for you? Yes. There we go. So here are the ladies out in the garden this morning. So I did catch it before most of the garden was in the sun. So this whole side was still in the shade. So you can see here, my cannas are coming up. The straw flowers are doing really, really well. I have a mishmash of zinnias here. The sunflower, which decided it was only going to face away from the deck the whole time. But it was very pretty, but it was like in a snit. Yeah. And then down here in the front, I have some snapdragons, and my border of the alyssum is doing really well as well. And can you see my salvia? This is the salvia I planted, but you can't really see it in there. So we had it fairly dry and cool. And then we've had like a ton of rain the last week or so. So the grass is nice and green, but my pots, they didn't do so well with all the rain. This is one of my 4 o'clocks. It is so pretty. I have a really hard time photographing this plant because it's called a 4 o'clock because it's supposed to open up at 4 in the afternoon, but apparently it's on a different time zone. So for me, I usually have better chance of filming it in the morning. That's usually when it's open for me. By the afternoon, it's closed. Are we talking about the zinnia? Sorry, I didn't see the chat here. The zinnia is orange. Yes. And these are like magenta pink. Hey, the chicken. How are you doing tonight? Welcome in. And I start a few of these from seed, but then they always reseed really easily in the garden. They are also called the marvel of Peru. They are toxic, so don't be eating them. They are medicinal as well, so be careful. But they love heat. Heat. So put it in your hottest, sunniest location if you decide to grow the 4 o'clocks. They're absolutely beautiful. Next up are all my morning glories. So this is just a snapshot along my fence. I did not plant any of these morning glories that are growing in the garden. The only ones I planted from seed were the heavenly blue, and I have those in 2 of my baskets. But all the ones that are growing along the fence line and everything, they all just self-seeded. And that's why some people call them invasive, but I absolutely love them. And here's the other 4 o'clock. So it's hard to tell because they're not back to back. Sorry about that. But this one is more of a purpley color. I got a mix of seeds, so I'm not sure what each variety is. Hey, Krubby, welcome in. How are you doing? Oh, and here's Sir Dexter with his GoPro harness on, getting ready to go film something. But of course, he filmed nothing because he decided to just go sit at the door. So then finally I had to go and I got him all worked up. And so there will be some video of him flying around the backyard. Take your grab all first. Hey, Rebecca, welcome in. How are you? How are you doing? This is one of my amaranth. So I had a lot of amaranth that actually self-seeded this year. So I don't understand like what amaranth wants or needs because I planted some out. Some of them are huge, like this one, 3-4 feet tall. And then others are still like this big. And I planted them all at the same time. And some are in full sun, some are in shade, some are, I don't know, it's just completely random which ones decided they were going to take off and which ones didn't. So I don't know. And here's another shot. So here's the shot of it's almost done now, the sunflower, but it's kind of hanging his head down. So I'm going to be getting seeds off of that soon. And the Rebecca are finally blooming. Oh, no, that's not it. Where's my remote? Oh, I can't get off the screen there. So can you see it here? Here's the Rebecca that I started those from seed and I planted them out. And then that's the only thing I've really had any damage on. The bunnies keep eating it. See here, this amaranth is doing really well. And so is this canna is starting to take off. Just now starting to take off. I think it was getting a little too much shade here. That's the thing. It's hard to tell where everything's going to be at. And then here's just another couple of angles. Here's one of the shots of Dexter flying around like a maniac. And then he just got distracted trying to eat rabbit poop. So, and then here he is ready to go. And then, oh my goodness. Okay. So I know you all have heard me complaining about my front planters and they weren't doing anything and they were so small and blah, 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 blah. They're finally doing it. They're finally doing it. This one's finally filling in. I do wish I had had a couple more of these petunias. I have 3 in here. I have one here, and then one in the back. And I could have easily put 4 or 5 of them in here this year. I think they would have filled in nicely. But the cannas are blooming in this container. And I kind of need some kind of a more wispy filler kind of in between, right? So the petunias are doing really good. And then I have the cannas and then I have this. I need something kind of to fill in and wisp around. So something like a diamond mist euphorbia, or I'm thinking maybe the jewels of opar might do something like that in there. So I think that could add to it for next year. So, hey, Scott, welcome in. So, I mean, that's the thing is you get to, you plant these things up in end of May and June, and the plants are so tiny, and trying to figure out how big they're going to get, how they're all going to work together, how well they're going to take the sun. This side gets a lot more shade than this side, but it seems to be doing fairly evenly. So this is the time of year where you're looking at your planters, you're looking at your garden, you're looking at those annuals and the perennials and what's blooming now. What can you improve for next year? What do you need to fill in? What kind of texture do you need to add to your planters? Oh, thank you. Yay. You are going to love that tomato. It is absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking stock and I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do again? I love these cannas. I think they're the right size for this pot. If I had the other ones, they get way too big and it would just be out of scale. And the sweet potato vine, love it. These petunias are good, but I definitely need something else that's going to come in here and fill it in a little bit more in the wispiness. It doesn't look as good in pictures. I'm going to tell you right now. This planter is fabulous. I cannot remember how many impatiens I put in on this side here. Can you see them? Can you see the mouse right now when I have it on this screen, or can you only see it when I have it on the other screen? Let me know if you can see the mouse right now or not. Because I'm pointing to stuff and I forget which screen I have to point to it on. So just let me know if you can see the pointer on the planter. The pointer on the planter. Now I have a hand. So now you can see it over here, I'm assuming. So I'm going to have to go back and watch the video and see exactly how many impatiens I put into this planter. I don't think it was that many. I didn't have that many. I did not have great germination rate on my impatiens this year. I'm thinking maybe just 1 or 2 plants, 3 maybe tops. So I grew these from seed. The impatiens I grew from seed. I grew the lobelia from seed. Another impatient here, and the coleus I grew from seed. So I did buy the begonias, which I'm going to try and save seeds off of those and or save the tubers because it's a tuberous begonia. And I bought the caladium, but I will be saving the caladium and I'll be able to use that again next year. And hopefully it divides and I get more caladium. So, oh, this is a sneak peek. Don't look. Don't be looking. I see y'all looking. Don't be looking. This is a sneak peek of the front planter situation with the mini garden. So yeah, we're going to, oh, I forgot that picture was in there. You got to wait for the video. You got to wait for the video. So here's another shot of this beautiful coleus. I did order I did place my order with Stoke Seeds. If you watched last week's video where I just kind of went off on a tangent looking at seeds online, and there were so many different coleus. I was really excited. So I did go with that really dark burgundy-ish one, and then I went with a Kong coleus, which is similar in colors to this. It was called Lime. So it actually has more lime and then the pinky red up the middle. Hey, Katrina's sister. I told you not to look. No looking. So here's another shot of the coleus. I was just having fun out with the camera this morning. I have no idea what that is. They're working on the bridge just up the street, so that every once in a while I get strange noises. But I'm really loving this combination of flowers. So when I bought this caladium, I fell in love with this caladium and I brought it home. And then I wanted to do my planter, and I struggled to get some of the other plants that I wanted to put in there to go with it. So the other shades of coleus I had did not look good with it. And it was something else that I had that I'd planned to put in there with it. And I'm just like, the colors look terrible. But I'm really happy how this one, fortunately, I had a couple of impatiens left to pop in there with it. They are so easy to root. They're absolutely amazing. So the other planter I have up at the top, I actually did prune a bit of it off. This is like one of my favorite pictures I took. I put this as my cover shot. I don't know. I am in love with the begonias this year. They're doing it for me. I don't know. They're just such a vibrant color. I'm really loving that. And I thought they looked pretty with the lobelia. So see, yeah, I need something kind of like the texture of the lobelia in that front planter. The lobelia doesn't do well in there. I tried it there last year. It didn't do anything. And then my cannas are blooming. And then this, what happened there? What happened to that picture? Let me see. Oh, okay. So it just like jumps when it goes to the next shot. Okay, no problem. So yes, back to that other planter. It's this is just a shot from the other side, but this is my favorite planter this year so far. This one is it's just really, really doing good. And I was so sad. And I think part of it is because I was just so like, this is what I imagined when I planted it, and I was hoping it would turn into this at some point, and it just was taking forever to get there. So I have a picture coming up in a little bit of what it looked like in June. So you'll see. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Okay, so this is in June. This is not even when I planted it. So I was like, at this point, I was like, okay, it's starting to fill in. You can see here, I had a lot of damage to the caladium. I had some nice big leaves, and we got hit by a rainstorm and some hail, and it just ruined those leaves. These little coleus were so tiny, and you can see now I just have a couple impatiens in here and a couple begonias. And then there's the contrast between that and then boom, now. Like, oh, yay. That's what consistent watering and fertilizing will do for your planters. So before and after. Oh, and Jack. Krabby, hello, Brum. Oh, I'm like, who? Someone else came in? No. Sorry. Krabby just saying hello to everybody. Here's Dexter and I. So this is at that Willow Park. We went back to it to check it out. And this is actually the Credit River behind me, because I was like, wait a minute, why is this river so big? So this is the Credit River right behind me, and the Credit River runs through Halton Hills and Peel region, which is Brampton, Mississauga, kind of one of those rivers that does like this through all of like the neighborhoods and everything. So it's a nice big river. You can go rafting down it. You can go boating, kayaking, fishing. The planters, this picture is from like August 21st. So it's a couple weeks ago. It's actually, everything's looking really good. And it's actually quite a bit bigger now, especially the amaranth and the canna in the back here on this one is doing really well. And the cilantro took. So yay, it's growing. It's doing really well. And okay, this happened last time. I have like a couple pictures that it just won't show. And we're ending on Dexter. Hey, buddy. So this is how I was like convalescing out on the deck. You can see here my compression stockings and my shorts, put a blanket on my lap so he didn't scratch my legs up. And he just like stands right in your face the whole time. So that's Dexter. There we go. So those are the pictures that I took this week. I took today, actually, and I will be putting those on. Have I ever tried to grow bridal veil? No. is that I'm assuming it's a trailing plant, a vine of some kind. I've grown baby's breath, which didn't do so well for me. Bridal veil. Is that anything like dichondria? Like it hangs down, I'm assuming. That sounds really pretty. I'm gonna have to look that up. Actually, let's just do it right now. Bridal veil. Hold on. Bridal veil. Bridal veil falls. No, bridal veil flower. Or plant. Let's type in plant. Let's see. Oh, bridal veil plant. Okay, yes. No, I don't have any of these spireas. Yes. I think we call it bridal veil. It seems like we call it something else. I've heard it referred to as something else. I don't know why. Let me see. I'll share that so y'all know what she's talking about. That is beautiful, and yeah, that would be great for cut flowers. My problem is I don't have. Oh, it won't let me share the window in this screen. Hold on, I'll pull it over. I don't have room really to plant like large shrubbery. I'm trying to convince my husband that I have room to plant a so yes, the bridal spirea. I don't know why I think I call it something else. Bridal wreath, maybe a bridal wreath spirea. But yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous. That is just an absolutely beautiful plant. Yeah. Right. For sure. I will come over and pick some. When does it bloom? It's a spring bloomer, right? Because the city plants them. The city has them, especially up by the grocery store. Still be false spirea. So yeah, I wish I had room for one, but I just don't have room for one in my yard. But yeah, the city plants them along the edge. I could probably go and borrow some. I could go foraging. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing screen. There we go. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I would love to have a hydrangea. So we have those 2 boxwoods that we moved in, was it last year? I can't remember. If it was spring of last year, we moved some of our shrubs around and we moved 2 of the boxwoods down by the deck. And they did fine last year. This year, they're not doing well. I don't know what happened. I think part of the problem is we both thought the other person was watering them. And I don't think either one of us are watering them. And I don't know. So they're dead. And I don't think they're going to come back next year. So I don't really know what I want to put there, but I don't want to put anything too high because it's right at the edge of the deck. And I don't want anything that's going to get big and block our view. But it does need to be something that is shade tolerant because it's right under the tree. So it would be fairly heavy shade there. So I'm kind of thinking, pushing, hoping for like maybe a Bobo hydrangea. Maybe, because I think those stay fairly petite. Hey, Chuck, how are you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe something like that. I think they don't get, they're very cute. Okay, these look kind of big. It's a dwarf, only grows 2 to 3 feet high and slightly wider. So yeah, I think that would look really nice there because it is, it drops down from the deck. So having that there would be nice. I think the boxwoods we have there are bigger than that. So I think that would be really pretty. So I'm just going to try and keep an eye out and see. Hey, Frosty Lone Wolf, how are you? Oh, no. That's too bad. Sorry to hear about that. In the fall, I trim it and make a wreath out of the branches. Oh, that sounds beautiful. I love making wreaths. My friend was talking about they're getting a new front door. And so she thinks it's going to need a wreath on it because she thinks it's going to be a little bit plain. And I was like, ooh, let's make a wreath. And she was like, oh, I don't know how. I'm like, no. Let me make the wreath, please. Like I would happily make wreaths and sell them. The same thing with like the Christmas floral arrangements. I love doing those, like the outdoor ones in the urns with all the big branches and all that. I don't know. I absolutely love it. I would love to. I could do that all day long. If only I could make money at that. No one will want to pay for them. That's the story of my life with anything I craft. Oh, I just lost my screen. Okay, hello? Hello? StreamYard just crashed on me. Am I still here? Hello? Oh, I'm here. Okay. I don't know what happened. That was really weird. All of a sudden the screen just went black. The leaf is turning brown, but stem is still green. It's just growing slow. Okay. Well, you know what? Same here. Mine wasn't looking so good, and then it did really well after that. So I wouldn't worry about it. Don't stress. Don't overwater it. Mine, of course, are dead now because some squirrel or chipmunk stole them and chewed them up. So let me turn on my light because I forgot I do have something very, very special to show you. And I have been talking about this for like almost the whole year. So many of you might know I started working on a quilt for my friend's baby shower. Well, they didn't really have a shower. He was born April 10th. So back in March, I spent a lot of time on everyone's chats, and I would be like, hey, I'm in the chat, but I can't talk. I'm sewing. And everyone's like, oh, what are you sewing? I'm like, oh, I'm sewing this quilt, and it's a paper piece quilt. So she's a very good friend of mine, and it's her first baby, and I was very excited, and I was a little too ambitious. And I did get the quilt top finished around beginning of April. I made my quilt sandwich, which is when you put the quilt top in the batting and the backing and you glue them or baste them together. And I did all that, and I folded it up and I put it out of sight, and I couldn't look at it for a while. It was very stressful thinking about having to quilt it and how that was going to go. And in order to quilt a quilt, I have to take over my dining room table because I don't have enough room here. I have to make my little DIY quilt table on the side. And I know that I need time where I can just take over the dining room table for a few days. So when I hurt my foot, I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect time. So my husband brought my sewing machine down and all my stuff. And so I started working on this. So I have done paper piecing before, always on smaller projects. And so when I asked her what the theme of the nursery was going to be, she said safari, but not like cutesy baby safari, like nice, classy safari. She's an interior designer. So nice, classy safari. And she had these two beautiful paintings that a friend had done, one of an elephant and one of a giraffe, maybe. I can't remember what the other animal was. They were absolutely beautiful. So I go online and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to make a quilt. So Shannon, if you're watching, turn the TV off right now. Just turn it off. Don't watch anymore. And so then I saw this quilt pattern online, and I had no idea when I downloaded it and started printing the pattern out, how many pieces it had and how long it was going to take to put all of these little pieces together. So if you don't know anything about pattern piecing, and I'm going to do a video on it and I will show like the details. So I got to make sure it's not upside down. Hold on. It's upside down. It's totally upside down. So hopefully I can hold this up and you guys can see. My pride, my joy, the most time, effort, and all of that I have ever put into a sewing project. And I was tempted to lie and say it got destroyed in the wash machine and keep it, but so. Oh, and I was an idiot. I did the backing all in satin because I love satin. It's so soft, it's so cozy, it's beautiful, but it's a nightmare to work with. So I don't know if you can see it because I can't see the screen. So this is the quilt. So just to show you, like, here's the eyeball. And there's like, so let me show you how many pieces there are. So there's the eyeball, right? So there's this piece here in the middle. So there's one here, but then there's a separate piece here and a separate piece here. So there's three little pieces just in the eye. And then this part. And you know what? I was stitching this part and I was looking at it. I was like, why is this sticking out like this? What's wrong? Oh my God, I screwed up. And then I checked the other one, both had it. And then when you hold it up and look at it, it's eyelashes. So you can see when I hold it up now. They're eyelashes. And I didn't mess it up. So I'm very excited. Because as you're going, like, you just don't know how it's going to look. And then I had it all sandwiched together, and I was so nervous about the quilting part of it, because that is not one of my strong suits. And then binding, and at the end, I was like, oh gosh, then I'm going to have to bind it. But the binding went really well. It's very nice and tidy. I was very careful with it. So my husband's like, okay, now you can give it to her so that the baby can go puke on it. No puking on the quilt. So yeah, I don't know if I will ever do one this oh, it's upside down. Oh, sorry, buddy. I don't know if I'll ever do one this intricate again. My husband said I should enter it into the fall fair, but those ladies at the fall fair they'll be like, that quilting, I did it all in my like small domestic machine, right? I didn't use like the wide neck or long arm or anything like that. So it is what it is. So anyways, it is such a relief to have that done. So I have that done, and I'm working on David's. I'm getting there. I should do one of Dexter. Okay, I did do. Okay, I'll try and find a picture. I will try and find a picture. I had one of my pug friends. So I met a lot of people online and before Facebook over on the pugs.com website. And so a few of them have gotten married since, and I have sent out gifts that are all like pug themed. And I was doing a pattern test. So this lady, I'd never done paper piecing before, and she was asking for pattern testers. And I had tested another one of her patterns where she had done like some woven fabric and made a basket. And so she asked me, and I was like, I've never done any paper piecing before, right? And she goes, oh, perfect, because then that way, you can tell me if it's easy to follow or not, right? So I watched a few tutorials online just to get the whole idea of paper piecing. And then I made this pillowcase and I sent it to them, and they love it. And it turned out really well. The directions were very easy to follow, and paper piecing, like, as long you're just basically sewing on a pattern. Thank you. It's coming. I've made great progress with it. And then I'm like, okay, I got to stop and finally get this finished. And then my daughter has decided, I don't know if you can see in this fabric here, she's decided she wants a dress for the first day of school, which is what, Wednesday? So I printed out the pattern today, so I'm going to have her help me glue it. I use glue stick. We're going to glue it together, cut it out, and we'll work on that later. So let me just check the chat, see if I missed anything while I was, holding up a giant quilt in front of me. Heard that Rob's mango tree grown from seed was okay. Yeah, I've heard that that most people lose them around the 2 to 3 month mark. Like, there's something about it, and I don't know if it's like the humidity levels and all of that, because I was keeping it in that humidity dome for quite a while. So, okay, so no, I didn't miss anything. Okay, good. Banana peels and soak them in water. I did the banana peels. Don't leave the banana peels sitting too long. I did that in mine. Mine died. And now I hear a kid. Okay, you know what? And this was second only to this quilt. Here, I'll show you the other quilt. I don't know why I spend all these times on other people, gifts for other people. So this is my blog that I've had for several years. And the only updating I do now is occasionally I'll share a new video. This was it's called a Polaroid quilt. And so what you do is every square, you put this white binding around it to where each square looks like a Polaroid, right? And then you do different themes. You can use different pieces of scraps in the fabric. So some of the squares that I did were just simple cuts of the fabric that I thought would, fit with this person's theme. And then some of it, like this one here, there was some actual paper piecing and quilting went on it. But this is how the quilt looks. So once you do the white around it like this, you do a square of gray on this side and this side to give it make it look like a shadow. So that is this was this was the example of the ladies was this little pug one. But yeah, so you do all the strips. So you sew them all on like this. You get your rows together. You line everything up, and there is the quilt top. So this one took me a very long time. This was for my friend's birthday. It was for her 50th birthday. I think it was her 50th birthday. And so each square represented something. It was like the middle names were all the initials of everyone in her family. She does baking and cooking like professionally. So that was on there. So, and she's obsessed with leaves and fall stuff. So for some reason, my most intricate sews are always for other people, but I was really happy with how that one turned out. Oh, good Lord. Don't click on the ads, apparently. Awkward. Hopefully I don't get demonetized for that. Okie dokie. That was really awkward. So I was trying to find you the pug quilt, the pug one, but I don't know why it's not showing it. Maybe if I search paper piece. Oh, this is Gizmo. So Gizmo was our pug before Dexter, who passed away in January. And him and my daughter were inseparable. So I typed in pug, but maybe I'll have to type in paper piece. And it's in all caps now. Great. Nope. Back to the quilt. Sorry if this is making you sick. Sorry, I shouldn't have it on here. Oh, this is the mini. So this is the one I showed you last week or a couple weeks ago. So this is the one I have here. So this was kind of like an interpretation of this picture. So this is one of my favorite pictures. My daughter is on the hill next to the tree. And so I actually use that fabric. It's actually easier to see in the picture than it is when I hold up the quilt. So you can see it's kind of an impressionistic version of the dress here. And I did not follow a pattern for this. I freehanded it. And I probably should have found a pattern that was similar to this, and it would have been a lot easier. But here's how the garden looked back then. So this was how it was originally. It was like this for years. So we did this. We cut these original shapes out of it was just a rectangle originally. We cut these out in 2006, I think, or 2007, somewhere around there. No, I think it was 2000 or 2005. Gizmo was a baby. So I think it was 2006. So this is how it was originally. It went in on this side, and then it went in on this side, and then this side it was separated. And then in 2020, we'd always wanted to enlarge the beds, and we just never had time because spring was always a super, super busy time for us. And then 2020 hit, and we had nowhere to go for 3 months. So that's when this bed here went like this. And then this one here. So this is like actually the farthest part in now. This part here came all the way around and down like this. And then this over here, we just joined it like this. And that's how we got like the swooping pathway. So it's funny to see the different plants and how much bigger. This is the weeping crabapple before it died. But you can see how small like the globe cedars are enormous now. So that's funny. All right. Tangent. Squirrel. And how do I get back to the other screen? Here we go. So that's that. This wasn't supposed to be a sewing night. Oh, here's some bras I've made. Those are actually pretty intricate. Mainly trying to get the fit right. Like that is a nightmare. But there's my mannequin that used to scare me out the window because I had it in my bedroom window. And then I would be out in the garden and I would look up and be like, oh, there's some lady in my room wearing my clothes. Nope. So, okay, I'll try and find it another time. I don't know where it is. I don't know why. It's a paper piecing quilt. It's a pillowcase. Maybe it's under pillow. Maybe I'll type it one more time. I'll try pillow. It's not on. There's nothing for pillows, but we're just getting inappropriate ads on there. Well, that's not good. I will have to deal with that, apparently. Sorry about that. That was awkward. It's going to be a fun dress. Yes, that was one of my favorite dresses I made for her. It was one of the first like full skirts I did, and it was reversible. That dress was totally reversible. I can't remember what fabric I used on the other side, but it was absolutely beautiful. I made like 3 or 4 of those for gifts. It was so pretty. I have not. I've been tempted to try it because you can make, yes, the bladder control pads and or the period underwear. I have the pattern for it, and I have some of the absorbent fabrics. It's similar to what you would use when diaper making. The one I've had a hard time with and I haven't bought yet, the reason I haven't made them is because I don't have any of the stretch waterproof. So I have a I don't know if I have it handy, but I made the booties. I made the boot dropping stuff. I made the booties for Dexter out of this fabric, and it's called I cannot think what it's called. But it's 3 initials, three letters, and it's like a breathable woven fabric, so it doesn't stretch, and it's what people use to make diapers. So it's breathable and waterproof. Can I do a video? If you want to see it, I'm pretty sure there is a company called Stitch Upon a Time. And I think they do a lot of underwear patterns. And I believe they have a tutorial either on their website or on their Facebook page on how to convert one of their patterns into a period pant. And also made for mermaids. I believe they actually made one, and it has a full panel that just goes all the way up the front that you can use. And I think that's more for like period underwear, but I think it would work as well. Yeah. Yeah. I can, yeah. And actually one of the best places to order your materials and everything, Pull, P-U-L is the fabric I was trying to think of before, but it's not stretchy. So you need stretchy ones to make like the underwear. You might not need the stretchy one for the pads though. So for that, you would just need the Pull because it's breathable. And then you would need several different layers of absorbable washable fabric. It's called Diaper-Zorb. That's what they use in diaper making. And then you would want a nice soft cotton next to the skin. And they have, I think it's in Toronto. The company is in Toronto that a lot of people, not underwear, but pads. Yeah. So I think with the pads, you could just use the Pull. You can get it at Walmart. Sometimes it's very expensive. You're better off probably looking at a D-stash site online or ordering it from the other company. Oh, I think Monkey. Oh, it's a fabric company called Monkey something fabrics. They're in Ontario as well, and I know she has a lot of Pull and a lot of batting and lining stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of pad patterns online and a lot of like YouTube tutorials and everything. I've just never gone down that road yet. I might at some point. I don't know. But it's an interesting idea, and I do have a bit of the stuff. I made some for Gizmo. So I made like a belly pee pad for him, and then he had a sore on his stomach, and so I made a bandage for that with the Pull, and that worked actually really, really well. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome in Oils and Wellness with Marcia. How are you doing tonight, Marcia? Yeah, I'll try and do that. If I don't do it tonight or tomorrow, send me an email and remind me. But yeah, I have not seen them in Walmart. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that sew them and sell them. Stay-at-home moms, work-at-home moms, WAPs. It's always hard to say. And there's probably quite a few in the area as well that would make them and sell them. But it's a lot cheaper to make them yourself. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Although every time I go into like Talese or Value Village secondhand stores, I always see tons, like several big bags or boxes completely unopened of like bladder control pads. So they get donated in there a lot. So that's something to keep an eye out for if you're in there looking around. And I see, like, I see the adult diapers and stuff. It's like, oh, maybe I should put a box of those in the attic. You never know when that could come in handy. But yeah, I do see them a lot at those kind of places. So hey, Mayfield Ranch and Rochelle, hey Rochelle and chat. I can't talk tonight. I'll blame it on the pain meds. And by pain meds, I mean the Aleve I took at 9 o'clock this morning. So I'm sober. I don't see myself making them anytime soon. And honestly, I tried to sell, and it's not, just is not worth my time at all. For how long it takes me to make something like that, especially since I'm not familiar with it. People that make them all the time can just whip them out, but it would just take me way too long to figure it out. But I do have, I think I have one of the underwear patterns that I had wanted to try at some point, but I've never got around to it. And I'll be honest, it kind of grosses me out. Just a little bit. So, yeah. But I will definitely send you links if you sew and you want to give it a go. For sure. It's worth a shot, right? Save some money and save some time on it. That would be good. So, hey, Mayfield Ranch, how are you? Oh, I forgot I was going to show you guys the video I showed right at the very beginning. Let me see if I can do it again. I'm going to pop it up on the screen. So this is just from about a month ago. I think I took this video and I forgot I never showed it anywhere. And it's just at the end of our street where we have the water drainage ponds. The beaver right there.
Oh,
look, there he is swimming. Yeah.
Is that beaver? Oh, I see it now. Wow.
It's
it's a beaver.
It's not an alligator or a crocodile.
It looks so tiny. It swims fast.
Very fast.
Oh no, they're far. Oh no.
So we have 2 beavers that live down in the pond there. We get ducks, we get geese, we have a turtle. Sometimes we have a heron that lands in there. So it's always fun to go walk and see what we see. And you don't see the beaver very often, but you do see him every once in a while. And there's quite a few of them in the area. And at least once a year, someone will call in and be like, "There's an alligator in the pond." So that will be in the newspaper. There's no alligators. It's just a beaver. But they have completely decimated that area. They have just chewed down so many trees. It used to be absolutely beautiful walking along there, especially in the fall. The tree colors were beautiful, and now it's killed them. It has killed off all of those trees. It's really, really sad. So, oh, Flicker Hill, I didn't even see you come in. You just slipped right in saying hi to Blands. How are you, Flicker Hill? Welcome in tonight. Sorry for ignoring you. Yeah. Oh, you didn't see my quilt. I'll show you my quilt. I'm very proud of my quilt. So you're not going to get the whole backstory. You'll have to watch the rest of the video for that. But I finally finished it. So it actually didn't take me that long. It took me 2 days to 2 afternoons to do the quilting. So probably 3 hours, probably between 5 to 6 hours to quilt it, I would guess, with a few breaks here and there. And then I did the binding the next day, which took a couple hours. I'm not even going to try and figure out how many hours it took me to piece it together, though. Okay. It's upside down? It's upside down. Here we go. There we go. Oh my gosh, I'm just so glad it's done. Thank you. Oh man, now someone said they need to do a pug one, which I did do. It was much easier than that one, let me tell you. You're going to need to do a donkey one. No, not where we are. Oh no, hold on. There we go. We are kind of up on a higher little ridge in Brampton, so we don't usually have any problems with flooding here. The ponds were the highest I've ever seen them. Um, but they go in and they do clean out where they put the dams in the drainage ponds. They go in with the backhoe every now and then and dig it out when I call and complain that it's it's getting too high. So they do maintain that, but along the Credit River, there is flooding along there. I don't know if there was flooding this last weekend. I don't remember hearing too much about it, but the storms we had earlier in August, there was some pretty decent flooding in parts of Brampton. Some kinds, like the lower underpasses that go under the trains and stuff, they were like totally flooded out. So yeah, that's too bad. And Chuck is awake again. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. That's toothaches are the worst. Absolute worst. I hate that. Thank you. I worked really hard on it for so I started it I think I started in March, and I should have started it sooner, but I procrastinated because I was kind of scared. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be, and I bought the pattern. And then I went and I bought all the fat quarters. I bought a fat quarter bundle, so they all matched and went together. So that was great. And so I was happy with that. And then I bought the pattern. And then I was like, well, now I have to make it. But it took a lot longer than it should have. I would do a few sections, and I would paper piece all the different sections. And then I would be like, okay, I can't look at it again for a while. And I have to take a break. So yeah, this is why I do not sew for money, because I get bored of sewing the same thing over and over. So very rarely do I make the same pattern over and over. Sometimes I will do it like with the girls' dresses, and I really like the pattern, and I'll make it for presents and gifts and stuff. There are a handful of patterns I really like, and I've made them over and over. But people that like make bags and make certain things, and they just make the same pattern day in, day out, that would just drive me nuts. I just don't think I could stay motivated to do it. I mean, like, yeah, if it's your job and you're actually making money at it or whatever, but for me, it was a hobby. And I did do a few craft shows, and I did sell a few things here and there, but nobody wants to pay what it's worth, right? And then the time and the effort and whatever they want to pay, you're like, that's what I spent on the fabric. Like, you're not going to pay me for my time or the pattern or anything like that. Because fabric's expensive. I don't think people realize, you think, oh, you made it at home, it should be cheaper. Nope, it is not cheaper. Oh, and I forgot, I have a quick little mail call. So this came in the mail the other day, and it was a surprise. I was like, I asked her, I was like, did I win? Did you have a giveaway or something I won? She's like, no, you just said that you wanted these seeds. So she sent them to me. So that was super sweet. Making sure there's nothing falling out of here and I'm not losing them. I did that one time. I did a seed giveaway opening here, and I found the pack of seeds like 3 months later that had fallen under the couch. So this is a lovely card from G Mama. So G Mama Grows sent me 2 packets of seeds, and this one is some columbine mixed, which is really pretty. I have a couple little ones out there, so that will be really nice, and they'll be really good. I should put them in the front. I should put them in the front because the front is pretty shaded. They probably do really well in the front. Maybe I'll grow some more for the front. And then this one is the Lagos spinach, which they were all talking about it, I think, in a chat, and I was like, ooh, I want to try that. So now I get to try that. So I'm going to look it up online, more information on it, and figure out when, how, and where I should be planting that. So that was pretty nice. That was a nice little surprise to get in the mail. My husband's like, there's something in the mail for Brampton Gardener. I'm like, ooh, that's exciting. All right, let me stick them back in there so I don't lose them. And so I know that I have had, so this is probably really loud. Okay. I know that I had a very cool summer, but the rest of you all have been burning up. So there's a fabric store at the crossroads in Toronto. It is more of a warehouse if you're interested. Ooh. That sounds dangerous. I've gone to the old the fabric street in Hamilton, which is really fun. There's a whole little street there that's all fabric shops. which is a fun little outing. And there was a great little burger place there as well. So yeah, so back to gardening. For me, I feel a lot of the fails that I had in the garden this year were from lack of heat and sun. So I think where my tomatoes have been for the last several years, I'm going to have to um, move them next year. I think our tree, and we pruned it back a little bit, but our tree is getting bigger, and the neighbor has two trees that are getting bigger and shading it out. So I think I'm going to be moving where my tomatoes go next year. And I think I'm going to be sticking with the dwarf and semi-dwarf varieties. I don't think I'm going to bother with the indeterminates. The flavors, my favorite tomatoes this year have been the leprechaun and the Tasmanian chocolate. And I tasted the kaleidoscope today, and it was very lovely as well. And I just think, I have a small yard, and having these just massive vining tomatoes all over the place, and they take so long to ripen and everything, that I think I'm gonna stick with the dwarf tomatoes, because I can start them earlier, I can get them out sooner. I was eating off of tomatoes in the greenhouse, off of the Tiny Tims and the Golden Balcony. Okay, and this is, any sounds you hear are from my wobble seat. It's like the top half of a yoga ball. So it's flat on the top, and it's like this big, and it's got air in it, and it's a cushy seat, and it's very comfortable. I'm loving it. My husband got it at Costco. Where do you get little baggies like that? Those you can find them in the jewelry section at the dollar store. So if you go to the dollar store and you go in like the jewelry and beads section, you'll find little tiny plastic envelopes like that. If you are going to use envelopes like that, just make sure that the seeds are dry. And or you can put a little bit of rice in with them if you're not 100% sure. I've done a ton of seed swaps, and I've only had, I think, 2 that showed up that were moldy. But it can happen. So just be extra careful if you're not going to use a paper envelope, that you make sure that they're fully dry. If you want paper envelopes, I bought a big pack of like 100 pack. No, it was like 300 pack of these small little manila envelopes. I think they're called coin envelopes, and I ordered them online. I think it was either on Amazon or AliExpress, something like that. And they were really cheap, and they came pretty quickly. So that's another thing for the seeds. Just for me, I just didn't want to have to worry about them getting moldy. I was doing a ton of seed swaps that year, and I was actually making my own seed envelopes. I was printing the pattern out on paper and then cutting them and then gluing them together and then writing on them. And I was like, no. That's okay if you're doing a few, but I did over 50 seed swaps, and most of those swaps were like 5 to 10 seeds at a time. So it was just absolutely ridiculous. So I was like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. So they're cute, but no, it just wasn't practical. I started doing them, and then I just was like, oh gosh, this was a bad idea. So yeah. So what would you say, okay, if you looking at your garden right now, and it can be flowers, it can be planters, it can be your vegetables. If you look at like something that did not work for you this year, what would it be? And why do you think it happened? Was it user error? Was it weather? Was it, just beyond your control? Was it just planted in the wrong spot? I think that's part of it for my tomatoes. It's just they're not getting enough sun there, and they were. They had done great there the last few years. Last year they didn't do great, but we had a ton of rain, and so I blamed it on that. And then this year I've been watching, and it's just not getting. It's not getting enough sun in that stretch. So, anyone, wheat did not work for me because of the animals. Oh no. How much wheat are we talking? Are we talking like a ton of wheat, or actually I was going to drop if anyone wants to come on up, hold on. Nope, wrong button. If anyone wants to come up, because I certainly can't talk. If anyone wants to come on up and talk about their garden and what they've learned this year, you're welcome to do that, or you can just type it in the chat. Melons didn't do well in the same spot as last year, maybe too hot. Is it possible to be too hot for melons? I don't know. To me, it always seems like melons need as much heat as possible, but I don't know. I'm not my melon. Sorry, I'm trying to find the screen that I had the I prefer to watch the chat on the Firefox. There it is. And I lost my Firefox chat. For some reason, it's always so much slower on YouTube. So it was a 4x4 plant bed. Okay. And what kind of wheat were you trying? Were you trying, like, was it a summer wheat? Was it soft wheat, hard wheat? Because I was thinking of actually doing some spelt in those boxes, those crates that I got. I was thinking of just doing spelt and just filling them with spelt and just having them kind of grow and see what it looked like. Because I didn't know if I would be able to find that many. Why am I so shiny? I didn't know if I would be able to find that many plants in the garden to dig up and to stick in there. But I did. So then I ended up just kind of sprinkling the spelt seeds up at the top of the hill. So I'll see if they do anything, because spelt is it's a cool wheat, hard wheat. Okay. But was it a summer wheat or summer plants? Okay. Yeah. So the animals just went in and ate them all. Yeah, that's a shame. Did you have like netting around it? Did you have like, that's the thing, right? Like build, it's a 4x4 maybe. Next time, put maybe some T-posts in each corner and wrap it with some chicken wire. I don't know. If you think it would be worth it. I think it was the seeds, none of corn grew. Oh, okay. My tomatoes are 9 feet tall, mostly green, lots of cracks and bites on most. Oh, I have not really got to taste my pineapple tomatoes yet. I've had 2 really nice, big, juicy ones, and I turn them around and they've been eaten on the other side. Yeah, that's so disappointing. And none of the corn. Oh, that's too bad. But yeah, if nothing came up, then yeah, for sure, I would definitely say it was probably the seeds. I grew corn a couple years ago, but I bought the starts at the store on a whim. I bought a 4-pack. They were 4 for $1.49, and they were so cute. And I was like, well, let's see if we can grow corn. And so they did, and they grew, and I got these really nice heads of corn on them. And I was just about ready to pick them. Raccoons came and stole all of them, knocked the plants down. I was so mad because I wanted to at least use them to decorate in the front. And they just mangled and destroyed them all. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they ripped the netting around it. Yeah. No, the raccoons are just, they're get Dexter. I honestly have had the least amount of damage from any animals this year than I have in the past. So far, it's only been the Rudbeckia that got chewed up and a few of these tomatoes. That's it. Normally, like, my beans would be chewed back and everything would just get chewed all over the place. But I do think that Dexter being out there and running around like a maniac is really helping. My corn is doing well. It's called Who Gets Kissed from So True Seeds. Ooh. Well, that's a provocative name. Who Gets Kissed? Wow. Yeah, the pests. It was really disheartening last year. I re-sowed my beans like 3 times. Every time they start to grow up, they just chewed them right down. So, yeah, that was a real struggle for me. For sure. I gotta reposition again. See, sitting in this chair, I usually sit with my feet crisscross, applesauce on my lap, but it hurts my foot to sit like that right now. And so I'm trying to prop it up. But the only place I can stick it to prop it up is on the top of the computer. And it's really hot and a little wobbly. So I don't want to knock it over. So yeah, so I think next year, just looking at the garden this time of year, this is why you should probably all be journaling. I was doing really good in my garden journal last 2 years, last year especially. Like, I wrote in that thing every day. I wrote when I did this, when seeds planted, when seeds germinated, when the first bloom was, when my first harvest was. I really did a great job of keeping track of all of that. And then this year, not so much. I don't know. I just kind of lost interest in it. I was trying to keep track of, like, at least when I started seeds. And Jesse, yeah, you would have won the quilt, but you weren't here, so you don't get to win. You don't win the quilt now. Sorry about that. You had to be here to win it. Your name came up. You had to be here to win it. No can do, buddy. That might be a good idea. Yeah. We're doing good, Jesse and Lisa. I'm really excited about that video. A question I have, how come none of the videos have you actually caramelizing the onions first in the pan with some butter and oil? They just have you dump everything in and simmer it. Would that compromise the recipe for canning if you just kind of let them brown up first? Or is it just completely unnecessary and a waste of time? I don't know. Go back to sleep, Jesse. You're getting a nap? Who are you staying up for late tonight? Jesse's getting a nap in. Hey, welcome in, Dragonflies. How are you doing? How are you guys doing out there in the Ozarks? Hopefully you're going to get some relief from the heat. You guys have been hit bad with that heat. Yeah. And so like I was saying with the planters and everything earlier, you know, this is the time you kind of take stock of, you know, each of the sections of the garden. You either go by the garden itself, right? Like the front yard, which I've done like 3 times the past year. And I look at the front yard and I'm like, it looks terrible. I hate it. I'm redoing the whole thing. So I keep going through. Actually, I think I'm going to be happy with it now. I think it looks pretty cute. I think you're going to be happy with it. Hey, Cinderella's Wish. How are you? Welcome in. No, the recipe only calls for them to be cooked until they're translucent. Okay, cool. I'm fencing all my gardens next year. My chicken's free range. Oh, no. Yeah. Doing great. I just saw we are getting rain soon. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We've had a lot of rain this week, though. And my problem when we get a lot of rain is I don't go out and water. And then certain planters up by the house dry out because I think, oh, they're getting rain, and they don't always get rain depending on the direction that it's coming. Like we had this like major flooding rain. You know, there was standing water in the street, rushing down the street all day for 2 days last weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And I went out Monday. This was the week before last. I went out the Monday, and my planter up on the porch, the big tall one, was like all wilty. It was dry as a bone because it's protected underneath it. That's the only way I eat onions is translucent. I eat onions any which way you want to give them to me. I love onions, but I love them grilled and sauteed, and I absolutely love onion relish. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, Jesse and Lisa dropped a video today about sweet onion jam, which sounds delicious. I used to buy it at the store, and it is so good on a burger. Oh my goodness, so good. This morning I did make tomato confit, but I just made a little batch of it, so I did not film it, but it was absolutely delicious. I will film it, and I'm going to see if there's a recipe for canning it as well. Basically, you just take tomatoes, any kind of tomatoes. So you can take cherry tomatoes, or you can take bigger tomatoes and chop it up. You can put it in a pan, you can put it in a baking dish, or you can do what I did and throw it in your air fryer. And you just drizzle it with a bunch of olive oil, salt, and then I did a bunch of chopped up herbs. So I did basil, parsley, and some thyme, and then several cloves of garlic roughly chopped, and you just put it all in and mix it and roast it until everything gets nice and warm and crackly. And then I put it in my my little mini food processor, and I just did a quick on it just to kind of chunk it up, but I don't want it like blended, like I don't want to like thin like salsa or something. I want it still kind of chunky. And to me so we had it warm this morning on bagel with cream cheese. So, but I will probably mix it in to the cream cheese and then add in some pine nuts, which I think will be absolutely delicious, because one of my favorite cream cheeses that I make from scratch is cream cheese with a bit of pesto and some sun-dried tomatoes, and then extra pine nuts if you can get them. And it's absolutely delicious, smeared on a bagel. It was a recipe, something we used to get back home at a bakery in Oregon, that they used to serve that, and it was so good. So that, yeah, so check it out. This is the sweet onion balsamic jam, and she made it look so easy. I was like, oh, that's simple. I can make that. And onions are cheap this time of year, right? So that's awesome. Hey, welcome in, Miss Shirley. How are you doing tonight? Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, so on that planter in the front, it's doing really well. The cannas are doing good. The petunias are doing okay. The sweet potato vine, actually, I should pop it back up on the screen while I'm talking about it. That would be, oh, I just popped up a blank screen. All right, let's share that screen. Let me find it again. Why do I keep clicking the wrong thing? The problem is I have my my ring thing here with the camera on it. Oh no. Okay. And it blocks my bar at the bottom, so I can't see anything once I click on that. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go back to the pictures again. I can scroll through them real quick. I don't have to show everybody. Although I think we have new people in here now that you didn't really see all of the pictures earlier. So if you've seen them already, close your eyes. These are just some pictures I took in the backyard this morning. I finally got a chance to go out and film my end of August garden tour today. So I guess we're going to have to call it the summer garden tour. Here's some 4 o'clocks looking absolutely spectacular. I love them. My morning glory's doing well. Another variety of 4 o'clock. Dexter with the Dexter cam. Dex cam coming soon. Amaranth doing well. The ladies out in the garden. Good morning, ladies. Psycho Dexter. Dexter not doing his filming job because he decided to try and eat, what was it, ranch treats? I think that's what Monica at Bland's Promised Land Ranch talked. Okay, so here's the planter I'm talking about. So the cannas are doing really well. There's probably, I planted 3 in there. I planted 2 this color and 1 yellow. The yellow is in the back. I don't know if it's going to bloom or not, but it's filling in and it's getting new spikes coming up. So it's doing all right, but I don't, maybe it's just not getting enough. It might be getting shaded out too much. The cannas are doing fine. The sweet potato vine is doing magnificently and the petunias are doing fine, but I feel like I need something more that plays nicely with each other in this area. So I'm trying to think of what the seeds I bought. I did buy some verbena. I think I put in some verbena seeds. Verbena might do well with that. And maybe the jewels of opar. Jewels of opar kind of are very wispy. So I need something that's more like wispy kind of, I think, to kind of fill in because right now it's like cannas, petunias, they're all kind of very separate. They're not like commingling very well in the planter. But I still think they look good. I'm happy with how they're doing, but that's what I'm saying about this time of year. Because you never know how anything's going to fill in. Hey, off the wall prepper, how are you doing? You just don't know how things are going to fill in when you're planting them, right? You don't know if this plant's going to die. Is this plant going to love its spot? Is this plant on this side going to get more sun? And so it's way bigger than this side, right? So it's one of those things that, it's always a gamble when you're planting in the springtime, which planting containers is one of my favorite garden tasks. Because it's kind of that promise of, oh, how is it going to end up looking? And this is the time of year where you want to come in and say, okay, did I overplant? Did I underplant? We've been so cool that you can see I still have violas in there. My violas are still blooming just fine because normally they would be dead by June from the heat, but they're doing just fine because we've been so cool this summer, which I know that the rest of you don't want to hear. Sorry. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And this planter, really in love with it. And I do like how the plants are all kind of intermingling. They're playing very well together. So we have the impatiens and the begonias, and then a few of the lobelia over here, and then a few more impatiens, and then the caladium and coleus. So they're all kind of growing together. There's not, they don't look as mishmatched to me. I don't know. Oh yes, the mini garden that you're not supposed to be looking at. Don't look. Sneak peek of a new video coming soon. Boom. Oh, don't look. Yeah, and so here I just took a few more pictures. I am in the province of Ontario. Actually, I am just outside of Toronto. So no state here, although I grew up in the States, but I was born in Alaska. I grew up in Oregon. I spent most of my formative years there. I went to school and everything in Oregon. And then I moved to Florida in the fall, winter, November of 2000. And I lived there for about 3 years until I met my husband and moved to Canada. So no peeking. Don't be looking over here. Don't be looking over there. So you gotta wait for the video, which I gotta edit. I got a lot of footage from stuff that I've been doing, and I just haven't had the chance to edit it. So I did get a lot of stuff edited this week, so that's good. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they were really getting along well in that planter. And the begonia is just doing fabulous this year. So I really want I want more of them next year, and I don't want to have to buy them. So I am going to try and save seed off of them, and I'm going to try and dig up the tubers and overwinter them. We shall see. They're also fairly easy to root, so I could maybe take a cutting and bring it in and try to keep it alive over winter, but I do not do very well with houseplants. I'm terrible with houseplants. I can grow stuff from seed. I can grow it outside, but bring it in the house and it's on its own for sure. The canna is really doing well. I'm in love with this planter. If you can't tell, I took way too many pictures. So this is it. Okay, so this is the planter. This is the planter in mid-June. Okay, so I planted it in end of May, beginning of June. Here it is or mid-July. No, mid-June. I think it was mid-June. So yeah, she was a hot mess. I was very upset with it at this point. The caladium had been a lot bigger. You can see one of the larger leaves was still here. It got damaged by a storm. So it had been nice and big and full, and it got damaged. The impatiens they were just small and nothing wanted to grow. We were so cool. I mean, we were like in the 60s and 70s for most of June. And these plants were just hanging out, waiting. And then, there it is. There it is now. So I did not add anything to it. I did not add any plants to it. But this is just what happens when the plants get enough heat and enough water and fertilizer. So, and I was fertilizing. I was doing everything I could. I was like, I got to get them out there. My flowers never grew. Maybe I should have watered them daily. They came annually. If I water them, do you think they will grow next year? If they come back every year, your perennials, you shouldn't need to water them every day. Most things in the garden, if it's in garden soil, like a regular garden, you shouldn't need to water it every day. It should need about an inch or two of water a week, or so they say. But a lot of it you can just tell by the plant. Like if the plant's looking droopy, it will let you know. Most of my plants and flowers and everything are in containers. And so containers are definitely more of a hands-on way to grow things. So yeah, you do have to water. Like this one here, I don't have to actually water it every day because it is fairly shaded. And so you have to take that into consideration. Is it a windy spot? Is it shaded? What kind of container is it in? What kind of soil do you have it in? You can get special potting mixes that hold water if you don't want to have to water it very long, or if they dry out a lot, right? So just trying to make sure that you have the proper soil and the proper container in the proper conditions for your plants, which is very, very difficult and very confusing. And remember, that's not me. That's the yoga ball thingy I'm sitting on. If you hear me squeaking. But I mean, if they're not happy where they're at, like if they're not doing anything, if they're not blooming, or they never grew, then maybe they're in the wrong spot. Maybe they need more sun. Maybe they need less sun. Maybe they need fertilizer. Maybe there's something in the plants. If you go with a high middle number, which is the phosphorus, that aids in roots and blooms. So if you like in these planters here, I was giving them, I think at the beginning, I was giving them just like a 10-10-10 or a 20-20-20. And then I switched to the 15-30-15. And so that middle number being 30, just boom, and it pushes out more blooms and it supports their blooming system. So, oh, they never came up. Oh, okay. Yeah. So seeds, if you're growing from seed, seeds have to stay moist the entire time from when they first get wet until they germinate. So, and that can take, some seeds will sprout, like arugula will literally sprout the next day. But some seeds can take 2 weeks to take 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I would say most seeds on average that I grow, from flowers to vegetables to whatever, they average about 5 to 7 days before they germinate. And that means that seed cannot dry out. in that time period. So that's one of the reasons why I like to start them indoors, because I can control the environment, and I put them in a humidity dome. And for me, my humidity dome, I use the giant Costco croissant container. It works great. If you are going to be doing it out in the yard, and you want to, just seed like that. I did do that a few times this summer with some beans and with the sunflower seeds. You have to water it. Like, some days I would be watering it 3 or 4 times a day. You don't have to do a ton, but you have to make sure you keep that area moist. Another thing you can do is you can cover it with burlap. So burlap will let enough light go in and will let airflow through it, but it will also help keep the soil moist. But yeah, those seeds, you can't let them dry out. If they start to germinate, and then they dry out before they actually sprout, they die. Yeah. Well, you might want to look into fertilizing. It does really help, especially if you're not sure about the nutrients in your soil. Especially if you have plants in pots, the constant watering and the water running out, you do need to supplement that with something. For vegetables, I lean towards the organics. For my flowers and my pots, then I'll just do whatever's cheapest and on sale. I'm not as worried about it for the flowers, because it's cheaper and it doesn't stink. My lettuce and spinach became spindly, so I think it's too hot for them. And so, yes. So that's another thing, is knowing like when to plant seeds, right? So a lot of times people say, oh, I can't grow anything. I don't have a green thumb. People that have a green thumb, no one has a green thumb. There's no such thing as a green thumb. Um, it's just knowing when and how to grow plants, and what time of year in your zone, in your area. That is why I love Johnny's. So if you go to Johnny's Seeds, they have a seed starting calculator, and you just type in your last frost date on the top of the list, and it literally tells you when you should be starting seeds and when you should be planting them outside for pretty much every variety of vegetable and flower. And then they also have a chart that you kind of have to do it yourself. I think it's a PDF chart, and it's for planting in the fall. So when to start your fall crops based on your first frost date. So my first frost date is I think it's like October 15th. Anywhere from October 15th to the 30th is just generally when I think of my last frost. So I would plug that into their little PDF file thing, and then you count back, how many weeks of when you're supposed to be starting seeds and when you're supposed to be putting starts in the ground for a fall garden. So right now, wherever you are, well, lettuce and spinach, it depends on how quick the lettuce and spinach are. And there are certain varieties that are more heat tolerant, like Melbar spinach, which is a vining spinach, is very heat tolerant. And then there are certain lettuces that are more heat tolerant. Paris Island Cos is one that I bought. I bought it from Baker Creek, and it's supposed to take heat better. But even then, in the summer, it's like my lettuce did really good this year because we were super cool. So I was harvesting on the romaine for a very long time. Before it bolted. So I lucked out with that this year. But most years, yeah, planted in the shade. If you can grow leafy greens in the shade very, very easily. They're happy there. If you don't have shade, you can use a shade cloth. Make sure they stay nice and moist. If they're going to get any sun, make sure it's morning sun, and don't try to grow them in the heat of the summer, because it's just not going to work. And then you're going to get disappointed, right? So any of your brassicas, any of your leafy greens, give them a bit of a break, unless you find, something that's more heat tolerant, and just kind of take a little break from them, and then start them up again in the fall. And they can take a frost. So your lettuce, kale, anything like that. I had it go through a few snowstorms and a few pretty heavy freezes before it finally died. I think it was actually in January. I think I have a video last year, I think in the beginning of January, and I was going out, and I actually had a petunia that was still alive in one of my containers. I don't know how that thing was alive. But yeah, like I had some pak choi, and I had a few things that were still going strong, even then. And then we hit January and February, super cold, and just everything was gone at that point. But and the best thing to do is to talk to people in your area. So if you can find like a local gardening group on Facebook, or a local gardening group on, like, they say, the Nextdoor app, and you can go in and ask them and talk to the people that have lived in your area for a long time and have planted fall gardens, right? So I last year was my first year ever planting a fall garden, and I was really surprised. I didn't actually get to eat much of it, because it didn't grow fast enough. It stalled out. It didn't die, but it really had stalled out. So I started stuff sooner this year so that I'll have more of a chance of eating from it. But I'm not going to be doing like a full on fall garden because I'm in zone 5B in Canada, and it's just not practical, because we start losing, daylight pretty quickly. Like now it's getting dark around just after 8. It's starting to get dark now, but honestly, by November it's getting dark at like 4:35. So it's just not enough daylight as well, even if we don't get a frost. So that's the thing. People in the south, not only do they have warmer days and a longer season, but they also have more daylight through those, shoulder seasons, as they like to call it. So that contributes to it as well. So sometimes it's just about knowing what grows well in your area, and grow it, and grow the heck out of it, and enjoy it, and enjoy watching other people that can grow what they can grow. And and I'm not saying don't try, because I try all kinds of stuff that I shouldn't be growing here, but don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work out. Always try and experiment, yes, but don't get too discouraged if it doesn't work, because, like, listen, you shouldn't be like me in the mango pits. Like, why am I growing mango pits in Canada? Come on. Right? So but yeah, that's just the difference that it makes. Hey, a little dex shot for all of you. And the planters are coming along. So these are the ones I was talking about, I was thinking of, because I didn't know I would be able to find this much stuff in the garden that was just kind of hidden around behind. I was thinking of just putting the spelt seeds in these, and just to see what they did, see if I got any, not even to harvest anything off of it, just to fill them so that they weren't empty, and just to kind of see what the spelt did. So I'm kind of interested in that. I have because I do grind my own wheat, so I do have wheat berries. I have soft wheat, I have spelt, and I have kamut. So I might be trying that. That's a spring summer mix, so I might be trying that one next year. I did put some of the other stuff up at the top of the hill, so we shall see if it's gonna do anything. But if not, no worries. So then, yeah, that's really weird. I don't know what happened to these. I copied them over from, and I can't even remember what the pictures were of, but I did want to share them with you. But oh well. I probably shared them on Instagram if I didn't share them here. So your last frost date is in April. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, my last frost date is, I go by May 9th as my like official last frost date, from like counting when to start my seeds, but I don't plant anything out until the very end of May, because it's just not safe enough. Fertilizing is very, plants need certain nutrients, right? And different plants need different nutrients. And some plants thrive on neglect and poor soil. So if you're someone that doesn't want to amend your soil, you don't want to deal with that, you don't want to deal with fertilizers, and you want to look at plants that do really well in those kind of environments. Two that come to mind really quickly are morning glories and nasturtiums. Nasturtiums do not like to be fertilized. They do not like good soil. They love to be neglected. So maybe look into some nasturtiums next year once they germinate. But you do have to be careful with the germination, and make sure that you keep those seeds moist the whole time, especially like with grass too, right? When you're seeding grass, you have to make sure that you keep that grass seed wet and moist the entire time while it's germinating. Yeah, I'm all caught up. Krubby's over here saying hi to everybody. Yeah. Okay, so your first frost date is September 21st to October 7th. Okay, so that's funny. April 24th to May 12th. Okay. Yeah, so I'm more like May 9th to May 28th, because the city just north of me is May 28th is their last frost date. It just depends on the year, right? Like, so like last year, normally it's like October 15th, I think is what they say for here. Um, the town just like 5 miles up the road from me, theirs is I think September 30th or October 1st, something like that, their first frost date. And then Mississauga, just south of me, theirs is like November 1st. So it just depends on kind of where you're sitting, your altitude, these little microclimates all in here. It can really go anywhere. Last year, we didn't get an actual frost until November 7th, which is crazy late. So the last several years, it's almost like our seasons have shifted. We've been longer and cooler in May, but we've had beautiful warm falls, which if we're going to have crappy springs, then at least give me a beautiful fall. And it's really nice in the fall because we do have Thanksgiving here in Canada, the second Monday in October. So that would be October 10th this year is going to be our Thanksgiving. And there have been Thanksgivings that we have sat outside. We've had, what is going on with my camera? We've had dinner outside, or we'll eat dinner and then we'll go for a walk, or we'll go to the park and it's nice and warm. So it is nice. And it's not, but the weather usually turns and we usually get really, really cold like the weekend before Halloween. So it can be like beautiful. We'll be like 70 degrees. And then it's like 2 days before Halloween. And it's like, oh, it's going to be, 32 and raining. It usually rains, and it's usually fairly nasty weather on Halloween. So if we can get a nice warm Halloween, we did last year, it was absolutely beautiful. And so cross your fingers, we get a nice Halloween again this year. But normally that's like right when the weather turns, is like right before Halloween. So that's kind of the date I go with, just because that's traditionally what it's been like since my daughter has been around, right? She's 13. So for the past 13 years, it's usually right towards the end. But we did, I know there was one year, probably 8-9 years ago, and we had like 2 feet of snow in the beginning of October. So it can still happen. Yes. Yeah. If it's a light frost, I think like Bobby on Black's Tropical Homestead, I think there's like die back to the ground every year, and he cuts them down and then they come back. So the frost will kill the leaves, but it doesn't kill the plant. But depending on how, what your zone is and how deep that frost, if the frost gets like the ground freezes like it does here, then that's way more of an issue. Oh, thank you very much. Any questions you have? I have learned most of it through the YouTube University and the gardening boards and pages and things that I have watched and learned, and I consumed. That's what I was saying. Like in the 2020, we were in lockdown, especially here in Canada, severe, and so right after March break, the kids did not go back to school. Everything shut down for 3 months. So we weren't working for 3 months. The only stores that were open were a grocery store and the dollar store, and only one person could go in, and they had there was nothing to do. And so I'd watched, garden stuff on YouTube and things like that beforehand, which is why I had wanted to start some cut flowers, because I was already watching Flower Hill Farm and You Can't Eat the Grass. But then, and I'd seen a few of like garden answer videos, but that time period in spring of 2020, and we were redoing those garden beds and digging out more. That's when I got hooked on YouTube gardening channels and consumed so much information and so much knowledge from everybody out there. Like, find someone in your zone, find someone on YouTube that's in your zone, maybe, or in similar growing conditions, that grows similar things that you like to grow. So if you're watching someone that only grows, like mainly grows vegetables, but you want to grow flowers or cut flowers, then find someone that grows cut flowers, and vice versa. If you're watching someone that's only growing cut flowers and you're more of a vegetable person, find someone that grows like you grow. If you are in an apartment and you can only grow in containers, there are lots of channels that have everything in containers. I do some stuff in containers. I do some stuff in the yard. But Pam from Container Crops, she grows everything in containers, right? And there are quite a few great container channels out there as well. And then there are people like me that are in a small suburban backyard. I have a small yard. Slava at Kitchen Garden Therapy, she grows a heck of a lot of food in her small suburban backyard. It's bigger than mine, but not a lot bigger. Hey, welcome in, Garden Master. How are you doing tonight? Good night to chicken. Go to bed. Oh, how is school? You had school today? Or is it starting tomorrow, first day? It's starting, it has the first day of school. All exciting. I have 2 new pups to divide before winter. Ooh. I'm hoping we're talking about bananas. Boom, boom, sorry. I do both, grow my own food in containers and in the ground. Yep, I do too. I do both. I like doing it in the containers for several reasons. Once, I find it's less problems with animals and pests getting into them. It's not foolproof, but it is better. It's more of a deterrent. And I can also control the water and the soil that goes in there and the nutrients that are getting in there. I have like terrible clay native soil. So we've been building up the flower beds and everything, but there are certain plants that just need a lot more nutrients, and I spoil them. So that would be like my tomatoes and my peppers. I spoil them. So I put them in the planters into the containers, and then I can give them exactly the soil that I want to, and I don't have to worry about them. And it gives me a lot more space because I grow a ton of stuff on the deck. And if I didn't have the planters, I think last year I had 51 containers. And this year I have added the grow towers and the 6 stackable containers, which each have like 3 pots in each. So I haven't even counted how many I have this year. And then I got those 2 crates, which are doing really well. And then, oh, that's what the other picture was. It was the giant pots. That's what I wanted to show you. The pots I got. Here, let me see. I can pull it up on my Instagram, I think. So I don't know if you saw the giant pots. So I think I talked about them last week. Yeah. I've had my eye on these. They've been stuck in the basement of this apartment condo building that we've done work for. And I've seen them down there for like the last probably 15 years. I've seen them in the storage unit, and I've been eyeing them. And I finally got the nerve to ask about them. I said, by the way, if you ever get rid of these, let me know. So here are the pots. They are not, and the picture I was going to show you was a better picture, actually. They're not terracotta. They look like they're terracotta, but they are plastic. So yay. Terracotta would be awesome. They'd be gorgeous, but they'd also be a lot more work, and I would have to worry about them freezing in the winter and everything like that. So there's actually 3 of them. So there's 2 that look like this, and I think that's paint on them. I'm going to try and chip it off. And then there's a slightly smaller one inside here that's a little more basic, and it's got like a lot of paint splatter on it. I don't know what happened with it. So this one inside, I might paint. I might spray paint it. I still have some of that like cranberry colored spray paint. So I think that would work good. It's a Krylon made for plastic spray paint. So I might spray paint this one that color. And these 2, I think I'll just leave them and just clean them up, try to get the paint off of them and whatever. Because from a distance, they look really nice. So I'm super excited. So they're like this big around. They're huge. I'm really excited about trying to find a spot for them. And then, oh, that dog. Where's the other one I was going to show you? Then these 2 hanging baskets. So I had picked up a plant stand from a lady up the street who was throwing it out a couple of years ago. And it was kind of rusty and whatever. So I painted it in like black trim clad, fixed it up. It looked great. Last year I hung some plants from it, and I used just the plastic hanging baskets that I had, and they were mismatched, and it was all right. So this year I didn't even bother with it because I didn't really have enough of the hanging baskets to do it in. And then I was going for a bike ride with my daughter, and there was this house not too far from here, and they have like 4 or 5 of these plant stands that I have out in the middle of their garden. They put a little paving stone under it so it's stable. They put it on there, and then they have matching baskets like this with the metal wire baskets hanging with full of plants on each of them. And they were just absolutely beautiful. I'm going to try and ride my bike by again and get some video of it because their house is amazing. They have so many plants and planters out there. And so I was like, oh, that's what this plant stand needs. I have this plant stand. It's beautiful. And it would be epic if it had some planters and hanging baskets. So I've been keeping an eye on these planters, and they usually want like, these are the 12-inch. So I had wanted 14-inch, but I thought, well, 12-inch will probably be less heavy. And then I've been looking every time I go to Lowe's or Home Depot for work. I check that section. I check to see if they're on sale. They're not on sale yet. I could get them for $7 at the dollar store, but they were just smaller 8-inch ones. And then I saw these at Walmart last week for $3.97. So I was like, yes. So I paid $4 for a 12-inch hanging planter. So I'm not doing anything with them this year. They'll be all new next year. So then the thing is like when I'm looking at seeds and planting them up, I have to decide. This is the hard part about starting all your stuff from seed is you have to decide in like January, February, March, where are you going to put that hanging basket? Because the planters have to be, are they going to be shade? Are they going to be sun? Are they going to be part sun? Right? So a lot of the stuff I grew from seed this year, like the coleus and the impatiens and the lobelia and the violas and all of that, they like, well, not the violas. Violas like the sun, but they don't like heat. But the rest of them are all shade plants, right? But then like the petunias and all of those. So I don't know. I will have several months to try and figure out where I'm going to plant it and then what plants will go into them. So wish me luck on that one. But that's almost the most fun. I'm not going to lie. I love planting. I love growing. I love harvesting, but I love planning. I love looking through seed catalogs and thinking and fantasizing about, what could be next year. And so as sad as I am to see the seasons come to an end, I really do love that time in winter where you kind of get that break and you kind of switch. You get to go into holiday mode and then you get to plan and start seeds. So I do like living in a place that's 4 seasons for that reason. I get to kind of feel like I get a break and start everything fresh again in the new year. Yes, you might need a grow tent. Won't fruit in zone 4? Oh, yeah. Well, you get a grow tent and some lights, and that might be it. Be what you need. There you go. Grow lights until it's warm enough outside. And yeah, and you might just need the grow lights to extend the daylight and everything too, right? Although the vegetable is a super fast growing variety and will ripen in 4 to 6 weeks after flowering and fruiting. Oh, wow. That's really cool. That's great. Where is Dexter? Dexter is downstairs, probably watching TV with my daughter in the living room. He is not allowed in the craft room. We are in the craft room right now, and he is not allowed up here in the craft room because that would just be an absolute disaster because he's out of control. And there's just way too many things for him to get into trouble up here. He'd be running off with everything. I'd be chasing him down the hallway with a bobbin coming out of his mouth or thread or whatever, right? So he is not allowed in this room ever. We did bring him in a few times when he was a puppy and my daughter would carry him in and I'd hold him up to the camera and everything, but I don't want to do that anymore because then he's smart enough now to be like, hey, that's where she goes when she goes upstairs past that gate. So he's not even allowed upstairs at all. Ever. We have a gate. He has to stay in the main 2 floors. Yes, he is very cute. He's lucky. He's so cute. I tell him that all the time. You're lucky you're so cute because, man, can he get into it. He can be a very naughty, naughty boy sometimes. Yep. So, okay, one last showing of the quilt for anyone that wasn't here previously because I'm super proud of it and I'll probably never make it again. And I say that and then I probably will make it again. And then I will curse myself and say, why did you let me make this again? Because I'm going nuts, driving myself crazy making this. Thanks, Jesse. Oh my God. Okay. So funny story about the hair. I took a shower today. So I took a bath and I was soaking my foot in some hot water with some Epsom salts in the tub. And I washed my hair and then I got out and I blew it dry. And then I was like, oh, what am I going to do with my hair tonight? So what I kind of do to kind of get these waves is I just take it when it's slightly damp still and I put it up in a bun. And then I kind of hit it with the hair blower and just let it sit. And then before I come on, I just kind of take it out and tousle it and it's super easy. And so I had my hair up and then, I threw some makeup on, I got dressed and I was getting everything set up and I get the camera set up and I turn it on and I forgot that I had my hair pulled back and I just had it in like a bun at the back. Right. And so it's like pulled back like this. And I'm just looking at the camera and I was like, what the, so I felt like I needed to put like, it looked like, when you're going to be putting a wig on or something, my hair was like pulled back and just like this tight knot. I felt like I was like maybe doing drag or something because I had like the full makeup on. I didn't have any hair. It was like pulled way back. Hey, you Grow. How are you doing tonight? I know it's not even Saturday, Jesse. It's just special just for you. Well, I needed to change the tape on my foot. And so I decided to go in there. It's called a top knot. or man bun. No, it looked more like a man bun. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the quilt. Okay. I'll try not to hold it up upside down this time. And I'll try to scoot back more. Maybe that would be okay. That's as far as I can go. Oh, I'm wearing my shirt. Merch. Oh, okay. Making sure it's not upside down. I should have made some like safari music. Played some safari music while I was showing you this. I realized there's dead air. Oh no, there's dead air. And the camera's being kind of weird tonight. But this is my giraffe quilt that I'm really sad I have to part with now. And my mom, I've been talking and complaining and whining and moaning about this quilt to my mom on the phone, and she wants one for Christmas really bad. And I was like, ain't no way that's happening. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, Charlie. There was actually the same lady that did this quilt pattern did an elephant. And the elephant one is so fantastic. But it's like way more pieces than this, and it's symmetrical. So this is asymmetrical, right? It's kind of on an angle. There's no pieces that have to match on the other half of the quilt. This elephant, oh my, I'll show you. You want to see a picture? I'll see if I can pull up a picture. So I'll show you a picture of what mine's supposed to look like. And then it turned out I'm really, really happy with it. It was very, very stressful and just very, very time consuming. And it's a gift. It's a baby shower gift for my friend's baby who's almost 5 months old now. Oops. Yeah. Oh, and I'm on all caps still. Oh, I'm still in all caps. Let's see. Sorry for yelling at you, Google. I don't know why it won't come off all claps. That's all clumps. Oh, these are not, this is not the pattern at all. So here, let me get to sharing, because sharing is caring. There we go. Add to stream. So, okay. So here's some other, like, how do I enlarge this? Okay, look at this. Like, this is insane. The colors in this are absolutely stunning. So each of these little, like, you can see the little lines and everything on here. I mean, that is all separate little sewn pieces. Even this, though, is slightly asymmetrical, right? Like, it's not exactly the same on either side. So this is something that would be less intense, less stressful than the elephant. But let's see if we can find the elephant one that my mom wants that she's never gonna get. Okay, so here's the pattern. Here's the pattern I used here. So this is like just their line drawing of it. So you can see all the little pieces a little bit easier on that one. So that was the pattern I bought. And actually, you know what? I'll go to their website because I think they were the ones, Quilt Art Design. I think they're the ones that had the elephant as well. So that's the one I made. And here's like some of the other quilts. So you can do the dog, you can do the cars. Paper piece quilting, it's actually, I don't want to say simple, but it's kind of like quilting by number. But look at that dog. He's fabulous. And they have like Australian Shepherds. And I did do a paper piece pattern. That is really hard to say. Of was it a shepherd? It was a dog. I did it for a lady. We did a mug rug swap. So I did do a dog of hers. I guess I should just search for elephant at the top. There's no search animals. forest animals, farm, paper animals, wild babies, sea life, hipster animals, dogs, crazy hippos, cats, horses. Oh, there we go. It's at the top. I couldn't see it. That's not the elephant one. This elephant one wouldn't be bad. This one's doable. It's asymmetrical again. This baby elephant is so cute. This little giraffe. Oh my gosh, these are so sweet. Oh my gosh. I don't see the elephant one. It must be a different pattern company then. Oh, that rhino is pretty cool. Oh, look at the zebra. Oh my goodness. You'd have to have a lot of black and white fabric for that though. To get that one to work properly. Oh my God. All of these animals. Look at that. Yeah, that is not ever going to happen, but how cute are they? Oh my gosh. No. Okay, I'm going to type in elephant quilt. There we go. I'll be a little more specific this time. All right. Oh yeah. Here it is. Look at that. Like, that is just stunning. But this whole, like, from here, I mean, the only thing that's slightly different are the feet all the way down here, and then you have the tail coming off. But the rest of this is all symmetrical. So if you're off over here on this side, or you mess up which color you did on this side, it's going to just stand out. So, but my mom is like obsessed with elephants, and it's just super cool. I mean, here, this shows you all the pieces. Oh, it was on here. Let's see. Go down. So this is all the colors that are in it. These are all the fabrics that are used in it. And then here's the, I mean, that's insane. And then people are like, oh, how do you take time with your seedlings and stuff? It's so tedious. you think that's tedious? Try quilting. I'm in love with this, and I love the colors in it. Like, who would have thought to do a lion in those colors? I mean, this one's pretty cool too. I mean, that's impressive, but I love the vibrant colors in that one. That is just absolutely beautiful. So, yeah. So I do tend to do more sewing in the wintertime when I'm not shopping for seeds. Let me see if I can find the pug one. I did. This one's super easy. Okay, that one's funny. That one's cute. It's cute, but it's not So Fresh Quilts. Is this the ones? No, I think it was a little more detailed than that. I thought her website might come up, but no. But look at these. I mean, they are pretty cute. And then you can do, so this is more of a simple style of quilting, of the paper piece quilting. It's not nearly as intricate as the others, but they're still super cute. So this would definitely be, if you wanted to start in your paper piece quilting, this would definitely be the place to start. Oh, I like this one where he's laying down. That's super cute. That is so cute. No, I don't see the one her pattern come up. Oh, this one's cute too. This one's a little more cartoony. So, but oh my gosh. Oh, look at this cow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is so cute. Look at that cow. I bet they have some really cute farm animals on here. This dog is hilarious. Yeah, tons of dogs. Your squash isn't getting bigger. The squash, yeah, and that can be too sometimes the size of the plant. So that one tomato that everyone was talking about in my harvest video that was like so fantastic looking, it was kind of almost a rosy color on it. I'm growing that because it said it was a dwarf tomato, and the only place I had left to stick it was this 10-inch pot. So I stuck it in a 10-inch pot. It's doing great. It has put out a ton of tomatoes in that pot. But the lady who gave that plant to me, oh, look at this cat. That's so sweet. the lady that gave it to me, she said that she put hers in a raised bed and it's like 12 feet tall. And it's supposed to be a dwarf tomato. So look at this boxer and he's smoking his pipe. Yeah. So sometimes it's environment. So I'm not sure if maybe that's part of what keeps a dwarf tomato small is that they say it's a dwarf tomato, so you can grow it in a small container. So you do, so it stays small. Because that other one I grew was in a like my Tasmanian. I don't know why I struggle with the name of that. The Tasmanian chocolate tomato. It was a dwarf tomato as well. It said it was supposed to only get like 18 inches tall if you keep it in a small pot. But then I went and put it in like that larger grow bag that I made, and they got like 3 feet tall in the house. And they're out in the garden now, and they're like toppling over because I didn't provide enough support for them because they were supposed to be a dwarf tomato. And for me, thinking dwarf tomato, how cute these are. I'm always thinking like the Tiny Tim because that was my introduction into dwarf tomatoes was Tiny Tims. So that's where I'm this is so cute. Oh my god, look at these bugs. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. So this one kind of looks like the pattern, but I think the one I did was more intricate than that. I don't know why it's not coming up on my other thing at all. I don't know. Very frustrated with that. Yeah, there's beagles. Hello, Annie. How are you? Welcome in Annie's Kitchen and Urban Homestead. Annette, how are you? Annette. Yeah, that kitty pattern was sweet, right? Yes. Morning, Blue. How are you doing over there this morning? Hopefully you are getting some decent weather over there. You guys have finally cooled down, I hear. It was funny, right when you guys were having that heat wave, we went and did a job for a family who had been over in the UK for a week or so, but they said they had just they left or they just missed the heat wave. So that was fortunate for them. But yeah, I don't know why I can't find that. Oh, maybe I put it on my Instagram. I'll scroll on over to my Instagram while Blue tells us what her weather is like over there. That's the one thing I like about having it's the best part of social media is someone's keeping track of all your stuff. Someone is keeping track of all the stuff that you've sewn and made and put together. Oh, Gizmo. There's lots of gizmos over on my other page. Because he was always out in the garden. Even last, you know, he only had a few months left to go, and he was just always on my lap and climbing and all over the place. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you these because it's kind of interesting. This is the garden in 2020. So this is before I started the channel. Boop, boop, boop. And I was sharing it on my Instagram for my sewing page, which is That's So Venice. So here's what the planter looked like that year. This was cheating. I actually bought a planter at Costco and then I divided it and stuck stuff in. So this had the geranium, the trichina, the calibrachoas, and some verbena sticking out of it. Oh, that's an outfit something I sewed for my daughter. So this was my sewing site. This was the first year I ever did grow bags, and I used the Dollarama grow bags. They were 3 for $1. And okay, so there's some food in here. This is how the planter looked at the beginning of the season. Back when I journaled. Oh my God, Gizmo and his little travel pillow. This was my first year doing the winter sewing containers, and I used strawberry containers, and they actually worked really, really well. Gizmo on the beanbag, which I made. That was actually a really, really fun make. And you stuff it full of your kids' stuffed animals. So it's an easy way to kind of clean up the stuffed animals in their room. And one of my most useful makes I ever made were these, which if you do any yoga, you will recognize these. So this is a yoga bolster that I made, and it's very, very supportive. It has a sheet set and a comforter pressed inside that thing. And then this is a yoga bolster. I mean, a yoga, what's it called? A zafu. It is a pillow It's for sitting on the floor for like meditation or when you sit, and it's nice and low. And I shoved in some old sheets and also a bunch of corn. So the big old corn feed, I put a bunch of corn feed in there to make it really stable. Because when you're sitting and you're meditating, you don't want to, regular pillows are too floppy. Oh my goodness, cold and windy in Perth. Well, it's winter, right? It's winter. Expecting a ton of rain over the weekend. Well, that's hopefully good for the garden. Not too much rain. Glad it's getting colder there. Yes, you guys everyone had crazy, crazy. Yes, and complicated. Start simple. Start with a nice, simple pattern. You need more rain for squash and zucchini. I could pick them at any size. Yeah, I think so. And I think the smaller they are, the sweeter and whatever they are. Yeah, this morning when I woke up, I actually put on like long pants to go film my garden tour. It was 51 when I woke up this morning, and when I was outside around, was it like 8 or 9? It was 58. It had warmed up to 58. So like that's kind of crazy. So here's just a bunch of stuff that I've made and sewn. My bag that I made out of my old couch. So I always like to recycle. Hey, Southern Roots by Sherry. How are you doing? Welcome in. This was one of the fiddliest things I ever made, and that is a backpack for an 18-inch doll, which included a zipper pouch inside, which was nuts. So I do not recommend. Here's some swimwear I made also for the 18-inch dolls. The 18-inch dolls are really fun to sew for because it's tiny. It doesn't take a lot of fabric. It's way easier than Barbie clothes. Those are too tiny. They're annoying. And the 18-inch girls, they don't complain about what you make them. And they will stand out and they don't move when you photograph them. So they're perfect for that. So I'm just scrolling through. I think I have to have a picture of that. The pug one I did. Oh, Gizmo. Oh my gosh, he's so sweet. So here, oh, this was a fun planter idea. So I used a pumpkin as a planter for a flower arrangement. So I filled them with soil, and then I stuck these in it, and they lasted a good 2 or 3 weeks. I brought this one to my husband's aunt and uncle for Thanksgiving, and then these were 2 little ones I'd made in the Baby Boo pumpkins with some succulents. So that was fun. Fall ideas, my fall wreath. Oh, Gizmo, 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 Gizmo. Oh, the skirt. I love that skirt I made her. More Gizmo. Pug fabric, of course, because you can never have enough pug stuff. And no, I'm not modeling any of the bras. Those are just on the dress form. And I'm not seeing it. Oh, this is the quilt I made my daughter for her birthday a few years ago. It's called Love Note. Oh, I don't want the words getting bigger. There we go. It's called Love Notes. And so it's kind of hard to tell on this, but they're little envelopes. So each square is an envelope. And then it has the satin here and then the solid part of the envelope here. So it's a bunch of little envelopes. And I used satin because I'm a glutton for punishment. I hate sewing with satin, but I love how it looks. It's absolutely beautiful when it's quilted. So that was her quilt. She still has it. It's beautiful. But that one did not take as much time as this one. Some bags, swimsuits, purses, Gizmo. It has to be in here. It has to be. Oh, there's that other quilt that I showed you earlier. Oh my goodness. Look we're like watching Gizmo unaging. Oh my God. Here's my hand turn quilt I've never gotten around to doing. And so that should show you how long ago I had started that one. Oh my goodness. How do I not have a picture of it? Oh, and here, yeah, every time I would get a paper pattern out on the floor to tape together or to cut, Gizmo would have to come lay on it. Every single time he would have to come. He was like obsessed with the paper. Yes. So winter squash is totally different, right? Otherwise it won't be ripe at all. You're supposed to get lots of rain this spring. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we had a really, really rainy summer last year. Tons of rain last year. It was just, I got blight. My tomatoes didn't do well. It was really rough. I swear it's got to be on here. Nope. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I didn't post a picture of it. I'll have to ask Nick for it. Wait, what, did I just see it? Or is that, it's probably just a picture. It's probably just a picture of Gizmo. I think it's the Philip. Oh my goodness. No. I don't know where it's at. That's too bad. Okay, I'm going to go up to the top. So close your eyes so you don't get sick. I'm going to show you the pictures from 2020, how different it was. The vine growing up, like you're going to see a difference this year. The tomatoes are not nearly as large. There's no vines hardly growing on my arbor. Yeah, it's just not as lush as it was that year or the year after. So here's some of the peppers. We're coming into the garden. So this is probably 2020. Yes, this is 2020 because I had to do my laundry on the deck. I was very angry about that. I have my cucamelons. These were really filling in nicely by then. But see, they're still kind of disjointed. I think that was what's bothering me about it too. They didn't really seem to like all kind of blend in together very well. But this year, my arbor was like my favorite thing. I just loved how lush and full it was. And those are the tomatoes along this side. Like they were crazy. I had to go and string them back like several times. So here's the shot going up the hill. These are all 4 o'clock. So these were the yellow 4 o'clocks. And I didn't have any of them come back this year for some reason. Here's the corn I was talking about. It was still growing before the animals destroyed it. And then that year I had put the canna lilies here by the house. And they got like, this is the door. They're in a big pot, but they got really tall. And then the moonflower grew up. It was so beautiful and lush that year. And I didn't have a channel. It was also the year I made my crabapple jelly. My hibiscus was enormous. And I really got into the cut flowers. So this is probably one of my favorite cut flower arrangements I've ever done. And I haven't been able to do any this year. I just haven't had enough plants and filler. But this one, I just kind of went around and grabbed stuff from the garden. I love using the canna lily seed pods, like right here. I love using those in bouquets. And then I pulled some of my vine, the porcelain vine, into it. But that was a really fun bouquet to do. I think this was Sydney's. This was Sydney's first bouquet ever. And she stole all the good stuff. I love these Prince Tut grasses to use in the bouquets. She stole them all. And then this was another one. I can't remember if I did this one or she did this one. So we went out and like every week I would pick a full bucket of flowers and I would make 2 to 3 bouquets and then we would give them away sometimes. And then one time I made a ton. I cut a ton of flowers and she had her friends come over and they all made little posies to take home. And it was so much fun. I love doing it. And then last year I made a handful of bouquets. And then this year I did one spring one, I think. But this year I just haven't had enough flowers and everything to bloom and enough things blooming at the same time because honestly, I feel like the whole garden has just been like a month behind. So I'm hoping, and I was actually planning on it. So Saturday night I was out and I cut back all the calendula and I was going to come in and deadhead a bunch of other things. And then I thought, you know what, Sunday morning, I'm going to come out and I'm going to cut some flowers and make a bouquet. And then I hurt my foot Saturday night. So that didn't happen. I've also found it's almost impossible to get a good photograph of a flower arrangement because anything in the background, you can't appreciate it. But those cosmos were really pretty. Oh, it's the kid. I think I say this about everything, but I think this is my favorite outfit I ever made for her. I love that pantsuit. And there's Gizmo. So here he is, poor little guy, could hardly walk up and down the hill on his own. And he would sit and faithfully sit next to me in my bucket, waiting for me to cut flowers to put into the buckets to make bouquets with. Poor little guy. But I have to say, getting Dexter as soon as we did has really, really helped the grieving process. I can't imagine how this year would have been without having Dexter out there. Sorry, Rochelle, for the comment. Jess, I want you to become my moderator. Join the premiere in a couple of minutes. Oh, all right. If he's still here. But yeah, so this was and I think everyone on my sewing channel is like, wait a minute, what's with all the what's with all the plants? So where's the here's the this was so sad. So this is how it looked after the frost. Like everything was dead. Oh. And then to clean up. Oh. Oh, and back when I was journaling, I was actually journaling. I had proof. And then, you know, this unfortunately will be here before we know it. And oh my goodness, I got into some, I told you I was heavy into seed swaps. So that causes drinking. And here's Gizmo, of course, because I'm going to sew a pattern. So what does he have to do? Lay on the dress, lay on it. Yeah. So, oh, that was Christmas. That was my daughter's outfit. Oh, one of my favorite pictures of Gizmo. Aw. Hey, no worries, Jesse. Take care. Have a good night, everybody. I know I've gone long. Sorry. I wasn't planning on, I'm going down like memory lane on my photographs here. Oh, that's when I started my channel. Yay. So that's when I started Brampton Gardener, and then I don't really post over here anymore. Oh, Gizmo. He was such a sweet. What is my thoughts for what? Maybe a mistake. I used all-purpose fertilizer, and I think that encourages new growth instead of focusing on fruiting. Well, that's the thing is if it has too much nitrogen in it, it's just going to keep growing the vine, right? Actually, Krubby, this is Gizmo. He was our previous pug. So this picture was taken in 2020 or 2021. He passed away January of this year at 16. So he was a very old puppy in these pictures. But yeah, this was the first year. This was like winter of 2019 right here, these pictures. Or 2020. No, this was winter of 2020, yeah. And then just some of the sewing I did, and then poor little Gizmo. Yeah. So, yeah, he made it to the ripe old age of 16. So, yeah, here I'm promoting my gardening channel over on this site. Aw, Gizzy. I'm getting choked up. Sorry about that. Yeah, we had him for 16 years. Goodness. Yes, it's time for me. Gizmo. Yeah, that was Gizmo. I know he looks a lot like Dexter. Dexter's going to look a lot like Giz as he grows up. But thank you. Oh, yeah, you have your premiere growing. So if you're not headed to bed, go on over and check out Krubby the Beagle's premiere right now. But yeah, I got to get out of this chair because my foot is getting kind of, it doesn't like the position I'm in, and I can only sit in certain positions with it. So one that is lower in nitrogen and higher in, yeah. So look for one that has like the high middle number, or just something that's just the phosphorus right in the middle. But definitely try something with a higher middle number, and that's going to give you more of your the roots and blooms, right? I know a lot of people swear by 511, and that's great if you're growing greens and brassicas and stuff like that. But if you're growing stuff that needs to fruit and to bloom, too much nitrogen is not always a good thing. So thank you, everybody. Oh my goodness, it's almost 10 o'clock. And I mean, it's like right at 10 o'clock. So thank you so much for coming in. I grow only pugs. Yes. This is a pug only household. So thank you so much for coming. And I have some new videos coming out. I got one coming up tomorrow of a little mini container that I planted, and I'm hoping to have the garden tour ready on Sunday. So thank you, everybody. If anyone's watching this on the replay and you got this far, wow, amazing. Good for you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you later. Thanks, everybody. Good night.